That's what.
Live from the Michelob Ultra Studios, KPNT-FM HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. This is TMA All Day. TMA presents their second ever trivia night, November 11th at Tim's alma mater, St. Gabe's, starting at 7:30 p.m. Rise and shine, St. Louis. It's the morning after on KPNT.
The Bears have handed Matt Forte the ball more last night and thrown a lot fewer Jay Cutler passes, and all would be right with the world. The Bears can't continue.
Doug Vaughn,
At one point, Gruden was calling for the backup.
and Action Jackson.
He was calling for the backup.
I don't know what happened.
I'm just going to complain all morning, I guess.
That's fine.
It's on a
Cam, I know you're
continuous loop.
disappointed. It's fine.
No, I'm not disappointed. I'm amused. Iggy's the one disappointed. Look how mad he is.
I can tell he is upset by this.
7:07 in St. Louis,
I'm
Doug.
sorry.
Welcome in. Plowhawk, I think you made the right choice.
It's either that or start at 7:12. I wanted to try something new to try to get us on time.
Munganess,
I
St.
knew-
Louis Acura, Alton Toyota.
And I told
7
Doug
o'clock,
right when
yeah.
I did that, I'm like, both things are going to be playing at once.
Oh, you knew that was going to happen?
I had a feeling, but I didn't want. You had to do it. 7:12. It would have been a lot worse on the text line.
I think
at
it still might be
7:12.
playing. I hear it still.
Oh.
Do you hear it still?
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, I have everything potted down and completely off.
Hold on, let me hear now. Oh, that's Iggy's drink.
I don't
hear anything.
I don't really hear it anymore. I did there for a
Now
moment.
I'm afraid to pot this thing up and see if
see.
anything. But we will
Why
make
don't
segment.
you try it?
Why don't we silence?
All right. We're gonna pot it up and.
Adams made me do that.
What's
See,
that?
this is supposed to end at 7:12, though,
Uh-huh.
so let's just wait till 7:13 and pot that up.
We'll write it out as well.
Nonetheless, what a fantastic show.
Michelob Ultra Studios is where we're doing it all, Doug. This is it. No YouTube. Let's go.
Oh, come on, pal.
It's live, right?
Yeah,
This is. Doug and I are
Okay.
both wearing baby blues to get the ladies going.
Is that all it takes?
That and the Hitachi Magic Wand.
Okay.
You're welcome to text in your fantasies. EDF Group text inbox 314-881-TMA5. Call in. A lot of phone calls today. 636-9004-TMA and email in the Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day, the morning after at InsideSTL.com. Doug, a Sadie Hawkins for the ages is what you
okay.
described it in the show prep meeting. I mean, what direction do you want to go? It's up to you. Ravens making a statement yesterday. Fun to see what's going on in Baltimore. Sweet, Sweet Kai is standing by if we want him to join us for that. Oh, look, the Texas Rangers have forced a Game 7. That'll go up against Monday Night Football. And the Phillies will have a chance to make it a rematch if both home teams can win from the 2022 World Series. The Blues with a surprising win on Saturday night against Sid the Kid and Evgeny Malkin. And then the Missouri Tigers improved to what now, Jackson? 7-1?
That's right.
He was there. 7-1 with a homecoming win over a feisty Shane Beamer and his broken foot from kicking an object the previous week in Columbia, South Carolina in frustration after blowing a 10-point lead with 5 minutes left to the Florida Gators. I don't know. Iggy did an Instagram Live addressing
really?
Lisa Ann and also the gold diggers in his life.
Yeah, just a little bit about her. There's a lot of just whatever they want to talk about.
God, I saw it was an hour and 7 minutes. I'm like,
Was it really?
Doug, you did an Instagram Live on that same
Hell
topic.
no. Hell, you have gold diggers that have zeroed in on you?
how is that,
Is that right?
possible?
I don't think so.
It defies the laws of physics for that sort of.
I have women into tall guys all over me. It's an amazing thing what's going on with this show. But that's the price you pay of being a local HD2 celebrity.
Big stars.
Thank you. Let's
Big
go
stars.
burgering.
Yeah.
Now Cucky again claims that I could be his father because his mom used to work at Redbird Lanes.
We got to do a little DNA test.
Hello, Cucky. What if it turned out that you are indeed
That would-
Cucky's father?
I would be proud.
You should be, because he's a wonderful gentleman and he's one of the most
wonderful guy.
creative people I know.
Yes, and he's a great father.
But what if he would take you to court and you have to spend that 18 years, right? Can you do that?
Tell him, look, I'll help you out. I'll give you child support. What do you want? $4 a week?
Cucky's fantastic.
Did Iggy discuss the deleted tweet? That's from the South City Hoosier aficionado. How would somebody know if a tweet was deleted? I don't understand. Iggy?
I don't even know if I tweeted over the weekend.
Okay. South City Hoosier aficionado, why don't you call and we'll move you to the front of the line.
So why would you delete it then?
I don't know what he's talking about. You'll have to tell me what tweet.
It's very clear you had a tweet and then deleted it.
I don't remember tweeting this weekend, but you can point out.
What did the Greg Lansky tweet say?
Yeah,
That started out like it was
what
on
did my
first.
tweet say? I don't know. I did some blocking over the weekend. I didn't
You did
tweet
some
about
blocking. Doug, you
Who'd
did
block?
blocking over
I didn't. Who'd you block?
it. Just one person.
What do you say?
Yeah, wasn't a he.
Another lady
Oh,
getting in your
no.
craw?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, this was the big one, right?
Yeah. She's blocked from everything.
Lisa, you blocked Lisa Ann.
Yeah, that way I don't have to worry about her DMing me or texting me, and I can't see it and don't respond to her right away. So if she can't do that, then I don't have to worry about it. So
No.
yeah,
Really at
I'm-
loggerheads.
No, it is. I was fed up with it, and I ain't gonna put up with it anymore.
I, for whatever reason, was blocked from the fan page, and it really pissed me off.
And I guess you really mean it when you say I ain't going to put up with it
I agree
anymore.
with you on that.
I ain't.
Doug, can I have Lisa Ann's phone number? I need a favor from her. That's from the Warson Woods
I
Wacko.
don't have it.
Iggy tweeted and deleted he likes to be berated. That's from the Sheik of Wydown.
Do you like to be berated?
You just spontaneously sent that out into the ether?
I think it's still up there. I tweeted a berated tweet up there, and I put a picture of the girl from that I didn't want to play with her feet.
Doug?
Do you like
This
to be
is so
berated?
cryptic. I must have been.
I know. I got to see what's been nice to win a straight up bet and backdoor cover. That's the most recent tweet I see from you.
Isn't there one up there about berating me?
No.
It was like a week ago.
Maybe that's what you
This is
deleted.
October 7th is what I'm seeing, unless I'm missing something. Do you have a burner account?
No.
Is John Kennedy doing JOI videos now? It's a picture from, Doug, is he a senator from Louisiana?
No,
I think he is.
He was reading from that book. I put it up there. Might even put it on my Facebook page too.
Let's see. KJ No-Town says it was quickly deleted.
Oh man, now we got to.
Thank you for following my tweets every second of the day to see when I delete something.
Yeah, how would everyone know? They'd have to
is
just
gonna
be.
be bad.
They'd have to have it open right in front of the.
Why would
at
I?
all times.
Why would I delete it?
Well, we don't know what it was.
I think it was on my memories, and I remembered that when I wouldn't play with her feet. Jay's girl, Jewel.
Jewel.
It's
Why wouldn't you play with her
It's a
feet?
great picture of me sitting there just taking it while she's screaming in my face.
Oh,
And I just tweeted it, and it was before Friday. I tweeted it and said, sometimes I like being berated. And it was just a picture of her yelling at me.
now why would she yell at you because
Well, I
she
think
wouldn't
was
play
kid-
with her feet?
She was kidding.
Oh.
But the picture looks like she's just screaming in my face.
I like it when you call me Big Pop.
I don't know, maybe Elon Musk deleted it.
I could see that.
I
Could be
doubt
bullying.
Oh, he's definitely on. Yeah, that's on far.
Yeah, I don't know. So, well, you're all following it, so why don't you write the time down it was deleted? You all seem to be following it every 5 seconds.
Iggy, you are not the victim in this. It's from the 314.
All right, explain.
314, Colin, you are first in line ahead of South City aficionado now.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much over, so I don't care, but
This swine can sleep comfortably knowing that this show will tackle the big issues first thing in the morning. Oink, oink. That's from the pig of the coal mines.
Do they have pigs in coal mines?
They're getting them.
They're getting.
They have birds, right? That
I'm looking for truffles.
No, they put their tools like a tool
on the
belt,
pig.
like on the pig, and
Really, and walk
Pig
them through
farm.
there.
Tim Sadie Hawkins had nothing to do with Iggy, but now the show's all about him again. Unbelievable. It's from the 573.
I don't believe I just brought up. Tim mentioned my Facebook Live, and we talked about it.
Instagram Live, Facebook Live? Which one was it?
Facebook.
Okay. And then I didn't include in the Sadie Hawkins initially before we had a brief scenic route. Doug, the doggies, they lost. It kind of didn't matter. Kind of did, depending on your perspective. It's been a little rough the last couple of games. Outscored 5-0. And the playoff schedule announced, and it is perfect. It is optimal. They will play.
Really late Sunday night.
It's your opinion. They will play the winner of San Jose, and I see they're calling them Kansas, Sporting KC.
Sporting Kansas City. Is that the worst name in all of sports? Sporting Kansas City. Is there a worse name in sports than that?
I mean, Utah Jazz.
oh yeah, the Real Salt Lake,
Oh, we're all over Salt Lake City today.
and that like the Real Salt
Yeah.
Lake. That's when you're done. whoever
right up
named
there.
that
Yeah,
was the
it's-
last one that
yeah.
he named.
It's right up there.
Yeah, so they'll play the winner, and that'll be a 9 o'clock start on Sunday. Game 2 the following Sunday at, is it 3 o'clock? 4 o'clock in Kansas
didn't
City
see
or
that.
San Jose?
I didn't see that.
And then a 5 o'clock start on November 11th.
They play them all a week apart. If it's a best of 3 and it goes 3 games, that's 3 weeks apart for one round.
All I can do is read you the schedule, sir.
Wow.
Gene Garber will join us at 8, and then we'll have Gabe
You
brought
can do some explaining.
brought to you by James Carlton at 9. You know the Colonel, PowerMizzou.com. So I know a lot of City fans are not happy with the schedule,
Why would
including
they do
one
that?
at Prod Joe.
Oh, it must be a TV doubleheader.
Well, they're the Western Conference team, so as long as you're in the Western Conference, you're going to get this. The Blues have dealt with this, certainly. Cardinals to a lesser extent than the Blues. Blues, that's a tradition if they're in the playoffs. The 9 o'clock starts, or 8. We're told it's 8:30, and then it's like 8:47 puck drop. So unfortunate, the first playoff game's at 9 o'clock on a Sunday night. No question. Yeah. And I know, understandably, a lot of City fans, especially if they wind up playing Kansas City, that you're going, you got 2 teams in the Central Time Zone playing at 9 o'clock. Yeah. Chiefs, for the record, the following week play, I guess they must be over in the UK. They play at 8:30 in the morning, so that won't be an impact. The following Saturday, it could matter, depending on what time Missouri and Tennessee play, that you could be going up against that. As a matter of fact, the only way you're not going up against Missouri, Tennessee is if it's an 11 o'clock start. And seeing as it's a home game, good chance it's an 11 o'clock start.
Well, during the regular season, those soccer games last right about 2 hours. Just about 2 is all it takes. But in the playoffs, I'm sure they play until there's a winner. So it could go much later. So I guess 11.
Goes straight to PKs. They don't have extra time.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Okay. So they could probably wrap that up in 20 minutes or so.
Yep.
So probably the latest it would go is around 11:20, maybe 11:30. So you'd be home by 12:15, 12:30.
How about the
Early
fans
Monday
in New
morning?
York that like to watch the City? We have a lot of fans in St. Louis. They'll
They
up
won't be
till
watching.
midnight watching that
They won't
soccer
be.
game.
If it starts at 11 o'clock Eastern time, I don't suppose there'll be a lot of people watching that. Yeah. Well, I don't like it.
Well, good luck to them.
You're going to give up on it because of the late starting time?
You know they're losing.
I don't
in the
have
first
Apple
round.
anyway, so I can't watch it.
Doug, you know I'm a Larry Thornton Lemming, right? Mm-hmm. And he says that November 11th game for City could go right up against an 8-1 Mizzou hosting Tennessee. Well, he's exactly right. Should the Fighting Tigers beat Georgia in... You know, I came off of a self-imposed Twitter retirement, and it went okay, kind of surprisingly, to try to get information as to how the game on November 4th compares to the previous biggest Missouri road game in November since when? And I was texting with the Colonel during what was a quite boring second half on Saturday afternoon. I said, "This is the biggest road game for Missouri in November since when?" Because I couldn't find one. And he said, "Oh, Arkansas in 2014." But I'm like, "Well, Colonel, you're the Colonel." But I can speak with confidence that game was in Columbia, Missouri, brother. Mm-hmm. And then the Colonel went to go tend to his responsibilities. Wrote a great column about the opportunity that is now in front of him for that game. And that's operating on the premise that most likely Georgia beats Florida this coming Saturday at what Doug has called, not me, we all distance it, but Doug has called it the world's biggest cocktail party.
Outdoor cocktail party, yeah. I have, repeatedly. Mm-hmm. Come and get me. Here I am, pretty easy to find. Come and get me. World's greatest outdoor cocktail party. There it is again.
No! That's this Saturday, assuming Georgia wins it. Who knows? I don't know. These Florida Gators, who knows what's going on? Who is this team? I don't know who they are.
I don't know.
Anyway, biggest road game, and I don't know, where you have both teams. Here's my standard for it, because importance is subjective. So let's define it. Where both teams, Missouri and their opponent, are still in the mix for a championship. because that's what it is.
Yeah.
It can be for the SEC East, but Missouri still has Tennessee at home and Florida at home and Arkansas on the road. If Georgia beats Missouri, Missouri's eliminated because Missouri would have 2 SEC losses, Georgia would have 0, and then even if Missouri wins out and Georgia loses, they would have the tiebreaker. Georgia still has Tennessee and Ole Miss to go. Tennessee and Knoxville, Ole Miss and Oxford, and then they play the Ramblin' Wreck from Georgia Tech. But that is not an SEC team, so it would not matter in the race. So Missouri could be eliminated, or they could take control of the SEC. And people were throwing out like Ole Miss in 2013. Ole Miss was number 24. They weren't playing for a championship. Tennessee and Texas A&M in November 2014. Neither one of those were playing for a championship. I guess you could make a case 1998 against Texas A&M. Randy Potter dropped that punt. You remember that?
Yeah, I kind of do.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How about that? But I think you got it. I think from that standpoint, it is the biggest game. You probably have to go back to something in the 1970s. On the road. Biggest road game for Missouri will be Georgia on November 4th. And I gather we'll find out the time for that today at around noon. My guess is it'll be a 2:30 start. CBS has a doubleheader that day, and I would imagine they'd put Alabama and LSU in Tuscaloosa for their, you call it a nightcap. 6:45.
I don't really say nightcap.
Because that'll determine the SEC West. Missouri, Georgia should determine the SEC East, but that will determine the SEC West. And I guess theoretically LSU and there could be a weird tiebreaker with if Ole Miss beats Georgia in Athens, Ole Miss could still theoretically win the SEC West. So anyway, there you go. Mm-hmm. Yes, Plowhawk. Yes.
Is getting absolutely housed like going to be demoralizing for the fan? Like it's already a positive season.
So you're saying they're going to?
You're saying?
Yeah, I just heard that, Doug.
What in the?
I think there's
going to Tiger board.
I think there's just as good a chance of them beating Georgia as there is with Georgia winning by 30. So I give Missouri a chance.
I can operate with you on that.
Yeah, so I give them a chance to win.
What chance do you give them to win?
18%.
I like that number.
I think even with Bowers out, I think, I don't know the roster. I assume there's a 4-star replacing them, and they probably have 3 great running backs.
Probably,
I don't know the Georgia offense that well, but I know they recruit very well. But Missouri has had such a great year. And they're going to hinder the fan base and how they look at, certain players or the coaching staff if they just get housed. Because, again, there is a chance that Georgia just decide to turn it on in Athens and absolutely roll up.
Like what they did against Kentucky. And if they're able to do that without Brock Bowers, who some were starting to talk about as the Heisman Trophy candidate, I'd only seen him in that second half comeback against Auburn. That's where they really went to him against Auburn, if I'm not mistaken.
What do you think they'll be? 2-touchdown favorite?
If we're operating on what Georgia is at the moment, you don't know what's going to happen because they play against Florida. I would think that, assuming Georgia comes out of that game healthy, they should get one of their best offensive linemen back for that game. He's not playing against Florida. They won't have Bowers. I would guess that line at this moment would be set at 14.5. That is my guess.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
I'd be surprised if it were less than 13, put it that way.
So if they win,
it's a program-defining win.
So they they skyrocket in rankings, I would assume, in the top 12.
They're now number 16. Oh, yeah.
Maybe, depending, I don't know.
You'd be ending a 24-game win streak, assuming that Georgia beats Florida.
And really messing up the SEC in the process. I'm not saying I'm certainly going to I want to root for a good game, but Missouri could really shake it all up with just that one win. Because how will Georgia play the rest of the year? Yeah.
Stats grabs!
So this could change the entire landscape of the playoff system with this. So Missouri has a chance to really.
But even if they lose, it's still been a hell of a season. As much flack as we give Drinkwitz at times, here they are. They've sold out the last 3 home games.
About to get Ryan Wingo. It's pretty obvious.
They're ranked. The recruiting is going very well. We probably have to give them credit for actually getting the program back to where it was in Gary Pinkel's era.
Or are people not giving Eli Drinkwitz credit?
Well, we've bashed Eli Drinkwitz many times.
I don't think he's getting enough credit, and I'm a basher number 1, baby.
Number 1, baby.
I never liked him, but you can't ignore what he's doing. I don't like the personality, probably never will, but you got to put some respect, especially if he gets Wingo and then McClellan from CBC, like, you got yourself you need a new quarterback and an offensive line eventually. Like, Brady Cook could be a
so
senior.
does every school.
Yeah, transfer portal. But, yeah, I think you got a Coach of the Year candidate. He's not going to win it. But if he's a finalist, that's...
He might if they beat Georgia. If they win the SEC.
Yeah, that's...
What did you say he's not going to be? I'm sorry?
I said he's not going to win the Coach of the Year. He could be a finalist, but I don't know.
If they beat Georgia and they win the SEC, Eli Drinkwitz is the SEC Coach of the Year.
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to beat Georgia. If they beat Georgia, I just don't see that being a possibility. Georgia just clicks it on so much.
You know, I was reading, I guess it was the column. Doug, was it Heather Dinich who wrote?
I don't know, Tim.
About the one-loss team still in the mix for the national championship, which Missouri is. And I think it was Heather Dinich, but it may have been somebody else. Might have been on The Athletic. Was it Shane Emerson?
Gosh, I just don't know.
And they were making the point, which, I mean, it is accurate as of this moment, that Missouri doesn't have a win over a top 25 team. That's always kind of a bit of a chicken and egg thing, because when they played K-State and when they played Kentucky, they were ranked. And then if you beat a team, then obviously what's going to happen is they're going to drop. But you will certainly have an opportunity to beat multiple, most likely, top 25 teams between now and the end of the year. Tennessee is either going to win in Kentucky or lose, but either way, that would move Kentucky back in, I would assume, if they beat the Volunteers in Lexington. And if Tennessee wins in Kentucky, then that increases the chances that they are ranked when they come to Columbia on November 11th. And then there's the Florida Gators, who are out there lurking, and kind of a confusing season for them. Lost in Utah. Utah beat Iggy's team, USC, this weekend.
Caleb Williams upset?
Caleb Williams, who knows?
Yeah. He's no longer in the Heisman talk.
He's out.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he's...
I just think I think the best player in college football is Jaden Daniels. I don't know. I don't know if he'll win it, but Michael Penix, I was out at the Very Rare on Saturday late, and I'm just like intoxicated and scrolling through my phone. I go, Washington's losing to Arizona State, but it was 12:30.
That line was terrible.
I mean, what in the world? Well, they were 28.5-point favorites against Arizona State, and I'm going, it's 7-6. Washington only has 6 points. I was like, did Penix get hurt? Because that's the guy who's the heavy favorite to win the Heisman. And they won because of a pick six that Arizona State threw on a 4th down. Very interesting. And deep into Washington territory. I guess they didn't have faith in the defense, because that would have put them up 10-6. So Washington escaped there.
I tell you, who should win it. I mean, there's some good quarterbacks, especially in the Pac-12. But they're all kind of right there. After watching Saturdays, I mean, there's nobody better in the country than Marvin Harrison Jr.
I know J.J. McCarthy may actually sneak up and win this too. You know, I mean, if Michigan puts on an undefeated performance, but I agree. I watched every bit of that game. Marvin Harrison Jr. is awesome.
I mean, he may be the number 1 overall pick.
I don't know when the last time a receiver was.
Calvin Johnson? Did he not go number 1?
It depends who's picking, I guess.
You're talking about a receiver being picked or a receiver won Heisman?
A receiver being picked number 1 overall. Has that happened lately?
Keyshawn Johnson.
Is that right?
That's actually a good call.
That's a long time ago.
That sounds right. Nice job, Jackson.
I just typed it in.
Oh, okay. Man,
either way, it still was a nice job. It doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't matter how we get it, Doug. The ends justifies the means. That's the game. That was Ice-T in 1991. Hustler, New Jack City. Is that right? New Jack Hustler?
I don't know.
What chance do you give them of beating Georgia? 18%. 3 minutes later, Drinkwitz will be Coach of the Year if they beat Georgia. I don't give them a chance to beat Georgia, though. That's from the Loomster. He claims that that's a transcription of the conversation. Plowhawk, is that accurate?
I don't. I guess I have to look.
I think Plowhawk said, I don't think they're going to beat Georgia.
That's a lot different.
And 18% would represent that.
Yeah, if you give them 18%, that's probably not going to win.
I was communicating with some Georgia fans. Do you like that, Doug? Georgia fans? Like J-A-W?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Alan Dadeville was emailing me yesterday to see if I was going to Athens. And he gives Missouri a 30% chance, I believe. Maybe no, he gave 20%, and then producer Joe gives Missouri a 30% chance. So there you go.
Yeah, Mizzou's probably a little better than we give them credit for.
I think Georgia fans are down on Georgia relative to what the previous two teams, because of the game against South Carolina, because of the game against Auburn. the one time they've looked like the number one team in the country was the one time a team came to town with aspirations for winning the SEC East. That team was Kentucky, and they were properly dismissed. But they had Brock Bowers in that game. They will not have Brock Bowers in this game. And who knows what happens this week against Florida. Florida's a weird team. I also think it might be a good thing for Missouri that it comes right in the middle of a run for Georgia where they have Florida, Missouri, Ole Miss, and then Tennessee. This is quite a stretch. Missouri, on the other hand, has a bye week and can get healthy.
If the game was at Columbia, I'd probably give them about a 20% chance. Being in Georgia, I give them like 5.
Oh, come on. Fight Tiger, for heaven's sakes. Yeah. 5% chance?
Yeah.
There it is.
I just don't think they're in that echelon yet. They've had a great season. Brady Cook has looked great compared to last year. Running the ball more, his accuracy, his deep ball. But they really haven't played a team with this caliber of players yet.
Well,
Georgia.
Nobody has. And Georgia hadn't either. Nobody has unless you're playing Georgia or Michigan or Ohio State.
Yeah. I mean, I think they could play well, but in Georgia, I just don't think they're.
The thing that is really odd. I'm curious to get Gabe's perspective on this. Is the first quarter against LSU, the second, third, and fourth quarters against Kentucky, and the first half against South Carolina. That looks like one of the best teams I've seen play. Mm-hmm. Which sounds ridiculous and homerish, and I understand it, and that's fine.
Got to play 4 quarters, though, Tim. You know.
And that's the thing. But then at the same time, the third quarter against LSU was terrible. The first quarter against Kentucky was the worst quarter. I mean, both offensively and defensively, which makes the fact that they turned it around and beat the hell out of them just even more amazing. And the second half against South Carolina, in particular, the third quarter, fourth quarter, I get what they were doing, and they were just like, okay, let's just get out of here with a win, and who gives a damn? We're going to run it. They can't stop Cody Schrader, who's turning into an absolute force back there. And defensively, they were all over Spencer Rattler. South Carolina's offensive line was absolutely, it's beat up. I mean, they're not healthy, and Missouri took full advantage of it. I think they blitzed 54% of the snaps, and Rattler just didn't have any time. I think he completed one pass over 20 yards. So with that said, they just, they weren't looking to get style points. They got that thing done. My point is, over the last 3 games, they've played about half of their quarters at a level of a top 10 team in the program, and about half of their quarters, maybe not half, but a couple have been average, and then a couple have been brutal. And when you're going into Athens and you're playing for the SEC East, and even though it isn't a run of 4 straight tough games for Georgia, I don't think the Bulldogs will overlook them, in part because of the fact that they played Missouri and nearly lost last year in Columbia, and also because that game truly is for the SEC East. Missouri would control its own destiny if they win in Georgia.
Cody Schrader now leads the SEC in rushing. He's got the most yards, the most attempts, and the most touchdowns.
He's insane. I just still don't eventually you're waiting for his size in the SEC to catch up. Even this week, I'm coming into it well, Georgia's D-line ain't going to roll him up. He probably runs for 100. It's just he's a dude.
He hits the hole fast. He gets through the hole in a hurry. He's got some good offensive linemen in front of him. But when there's a hole, he hits it.
Yeah, you're right about that. And he's tough to bring down. He has been, that's the thing. And Chris Doering was saying this on SEC Network on Saturday. This is a team that, number one, deserves attention. Dari Noka said that. But secondarily, they can beat you in so many different ways. It's not all about Luther Burden. He's the one who's going to get the attention, and understandably so. But over the last couple of games, he hasn't been the reason why they've been winning. The defense, which justifiably so, got a lot of criticism, in particular for the LSU game, but it also was not great against Memphis. Vanderbilt was moving the football. The defense they've given up, I think, 1 touchdown since the first quarter in Lexington. And that came on the drive where Chris Abrams-Drain was an inch away from having an interception. Now, it wasn't an interception. I'm not saying it was the wrong call, but a part of that is because Shane Beamer just kept kicking field goals, but, they weren't getting into the end zone. Speaking of which, Shane Beamer, Doug, following the game, was in the midst of addressing the South Carolina and SEC media. And he wasn't happy with the interview room. As you hear him talking, you can hear Marching Mizzou playing over it, and then he just has to address it in the midst of his press conference. Take a listen to the multiple sounds going on. And Shane Beamer talks to the media following the loss to the Fighting Tigers.
So it wasn't a lack of not being ready to play. We had a great week of practice. We had great energy at the hotel, great focus, loved the mentality before the game. We just... we kind of got on our heels a little bit, I think, offensively in the first half with the pressure that they were putting on Spencer, and they hit some plays on us against our defense that we were in position to make a play, and we just didn't make a play. And so to answer your question, I got to look at how we're doing things, but I didn't feel like coming into this game that we weren't quite ready to play. We were ready to play. We just didn't make enough plays in the first half, but we need the energy that we played with in the second half. That's what we got to continue to do going forward. Hopefully, with all the expansion and facility projects they're doing here, we can maybe find a better post-game press conference room with that new development that they're doing out here.
It wasn't that bad. Like, looking back on it, that is ridiculous for him to have to answer questions with an opposing team fight song blaring in the background.
I wonder if they did that on purpose.
And he laughed about it, too, at the end. I think
Good for
people are a
him.
little sensitive in the Missouri fan base here with it. He is not a very likable guy, though.
It's not much of a worry. He won't be coming back to Columbia.
Yeah, I think I'm with Jackson. I think he may be on the hot
That'll
seat.
be his last press conference.
You think he's gone this year?
I mean, they were really high after the first year, and he has done nothing since.
Yeah,
Beamer ball, Jackson saying sell the stock.
I think they should have fired him after he kicked a field goal down, 21 or 18 in the fourth quarter with 10 minutes left on the 5-yard line. I would have canned him right there.
You would have fired his ass on the field.
I couldn't believe. I was like, no way he's sending out the kicking unit. I was like, what are you doing?
Got him within 2 scores.
Yeah, but they couldn't score. That was by far their best chance to score the football. They hadn't had a touchdown.
You like that?
Don't say
score the football? I loved it. I thought that was the right thing to say.
Don't ever say score the football again on this show.
You can say it on Balloon Party anytime you want.
Thank God.
No, Missouri
that's where I really...
We both shine bright.
Was he upset that South Carolina was their homecoming game?
He didn't
mention it. Well, because he knew it was against LSU.
Yeah. Well, I know they do those news conferences, or at least they used to when I was going there, just right outside the southern end zone.
tunnel, yeah.
Yeah. So if the band is still playing, you're definitely going to hear it. But, it's college sports. That stuff happens. It'd have been weird if he'd gotten mad about it. What, they got a band here? He handled that fine.
It's always good to kick a field goal to make a 3-possession game a 3-possession game. That's from KG in O-Town.
But it made it a 2-possession game, right?
I think it dropped it down to 18. I think it was...
I thought it got him to within 15.
It was...
Does anybody have my nurse's box score?
It was 27 to 9.
Sounds like Beamer's a genius.
27-9.
I was just going by what Jackson said. He said they were down 16 or 18. He kicked a field goal, which would have put it into possessions.
No, the field goal made it an 18-point game. I'm almost positive on that.
I'm just going by what I don't know what the score was.
Yeah.
So sorry, KG.
I thought it. I was. I thought for sure it made it a 15-point game.
We're off.
God, look at all those donuts you brought today.
Ooh,
You got
Bill's
a whole
donut
tub.
box. Look at Bill's donut box. What do you got there, Plowhawk?
I didn't have a smaller tub, so I had to bring
That's a
the
big
entire
chocolate
tub.
Long John. Does that say boo?
It does.
It does.
Did you get that from Donut Driving?
You know I did, baby.
Oh, look at that.
Sprinkles.
Support the family.
Well, yeah. Before I even knew, your family was involved, I'm going to Donut Driving all the time.
Yeah.
It was packed, and I talked to one of the nicest guys. He was the Melville fire chief.
No, they're in.
I had the some people like things and some people don't like other things.
Sure, absolutely. That's a
hoodie.
stylish hoodie, Doug, available at
He was behind
tmastlshop.com.
me, he was behind me is like, what does this mean? I'm like, oh, God. I'm like, how am I going to dumb this down for a fire chief? I ended up talking to him. Super nice guy while I was in line. Yeah, it was packed. Kids were in Halloween costumes. It was lit.
Look at that, Doug. It was lit at Donut Driving.
How many added sugars you think are in that
I
donut
don't
with
care,
the
Doug.
sprinkles
The
and the
display
icing?
is perfect. The service.
It's a handsome donut.
And it is, and I got to tell you, the sheen. Do you see the sheen off that
Yes,
chocolate sauce, Doug?
sparkles.
It's reflecting. Ooh, and it says boo.
Looks like it's the donut equivalent of a new car.
It is.
Shiny as
Let's
can
get a
be.
new car at Munganess. St. Louis Acura, Alton Toyota. Hello, Jamie Burkhardt. Hello, Clayton Patterson. Hello, Peter Munganess. Why don't we go out there and get a new car today? Doug, we'll get 22-inch rims, and they spin it.
Isn't that like one of the best days of your life when you get a new car?
And the new car smell? StLouisAcura.com is where you can do it, or AltonToyota.com. It's Munganess, sponsor of the 7 o'clock hour here on TMA. And the official automotive provider of TMA, along with the presenting sponsor of Balloon Party and official automotive partner of the Tim McKernan Show. Questions for QFTA this week, TMCKERNAN at InsideSTL.com. Or you can use the TMA STL app and then just click and then email it using, I guess they can message us, right? Iggy, I know you've blocked that feature.
Yeah, I don't get those external emails from listeners anymore.
External?
That's what it says, external email, and then it's people emailing into the show.
Okay.
I don't get those anymore.
Why? You block them?
I blocked one, and it blocks them all.
Oh.
Block one, block them all. Email me for QFTA. Tim McKernan at InsideSTL.com. Munganess, sponsor of the 7 o'clock hour here on TMA. Munganess. StLouisAcura.com and AltonToyota.com. Jackson, tell the people about Circa.
Well, Circa Sportsbook is now in Illinois. That's obviously the biggest news. So, when November 4th rolls around and you're looking to make some money and you say, hey, Missouri money line, how about we shock the world? And how about we make some money while doing it? Well, you can do it over at the Circa Sports app, which is now available in Illinois. So if you live here in St. Louis, just make the short drive over the river. Or if you live in Illinois already, sign up for the Circa Sports app. The Circa Sports app is sports betting the way it should be, with big app bets, high betting limits, tight money line splits, and the best customer service. And of course, the Circa Sports app is now in Illinois. So visit circasports.com for more details and get ready to start betting like a pro. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text ILGAMB to 833-234. Because I've been mathematically eliminated already by week 7 from the Circa Millions, I just said to my son, you pick the games this weekend. And he gave me the Buccaneers minus 2.5.
Did he really?
Yep. He gave me the Commanders minus 3.
Mm-hmm.
He gave me the Chargers plus 5.5, and he gave me the Packers minus 1.5.
Everything wins but the Packers?
Everything loses.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Did give me the Steelers. Got to win there. So 1-4. So I gotta have to try a different way to try to get back into this thing.
Maybe let your other son pick him.
That's right.
Just whatever he drools on, that's the pick.
See what the 1-year-old has to say this week. The 6-year-old's out. It's the Circa Millions competition. I enjoyed some Andrea's barbecue this weekend. Doug, do you have any cookouts this weekend? Weather wasn't bad for a cookout.
No cookouts, really.
If you did, you pour Andrea's barbecue sauce all over it. Oh, how do you do with Andrea's and Andrea's Steakhouse? I gotta get there.
Do you?
Got to get there.
Go.
I know. It's just tough. It's just to get babysitters and a Saturday night. It's a whole thing. Andrea's off of O'Fallon Road in Collinsville, or Collinsville Road in O'Fallon. Which one is it? Confuses me.
No, I don't. I think it's O'Fallon.
I know it's at Andreas.com. And I know that the barbecue sauce and the steak sauce is available at Dierberg's and at Schnucks. It's Andrea's Wonderful Steakhouse. Max and Rebecca, wonderful people. Experience it all with Andrea's. Get involved on the program, 314-881-TMA5. EDF Group text inbox. Call in 636-9004-TMA and email in for our design, air, heating, and cooling email today, the morning after, at InsideSTL.com. Don't forget, on November 11th at St. Gabriel's, it's TMA Trivia Night for the 2nd annual TMA Trivia Night, and $45. That's it. Gets you all of your salt and smoke barbecue and all of your AB products all night long at St. Gabriel's. It's TMA Trivia Night. Sign up, get your table, or you can just get a couple tickets. Hell, it doesn't matter. Anything will work. TMASTL.com. The TMA Trivia Night coming your way on November 11th at St. Gabriel's, and you should probably think about it. Gabe DeArmond, brought to you by James Carlton, coming up at 9 o'clock. Design, air, heating, and cooling at 9:45. Jackson and I will deal with it down the hallway. It's fine. Blues won, so they should be happy. 10:45, Jeremy Rutherford will be with us as the Blues beat the Penguins in a stunning turn of events based on how poorly they played on Thursday night against the Coyotes. Saad, how do you do? Parayko, how do you do?
Yeah. Saad had 2 goals.
Yeah. How about capping into a neighbors? Oh, yeah, without
best game
question.
they played. And Bennington looked very sharp.
Benner, chicken dinner. Their one loss, at least regulation loss, has come without him in there. I don't think it would have made a difference, honestly, against the Coyotes for how bad they played. But that was a hell of a win. And the Blues now have picked up points in 3 of 4 games after beating the Penguins. And now they head out to take on WPG. So they'll play wins per game tomorrow night.
Wins per game. Yeah. Weird name for a team.
That's what they chose. We
Better than Real Salt Lake. I still think
Or
that would be
Sporting
better.
Kansas City. Wins per game, Jets.
Morning, boys, and Mr. Tim. Tim, check out Kelly Clutch. She makes me finish Over the Green Monster. Also, I will be bringing a bag of Franzia to trivia that says Doug's ass on it, so we can all slap and drink the juices from it. That's
Okay.
from Caller Buzz.
Caller Buzz, you just got yourself suspended. Got yourself suspended a period of 2 days' time, and your name right now is going into the suspension logule, and it won't feel very good on your part. So right now, I'm writing it down. What's the date today? Is this
I got
the
it as the
23rd?
23rd.
Okay, just to be official, it's down, Buzz. 2 days' time.
What is Fonzia? Is that $3 bottle of wine?
I believe so.
Oh, can I turn this on to see if that's still playing?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Sure.
Cool.
Done. Okay. Cool.
Sorry. Back to regular scheduled programming.
Thank you. Iggy, you did a Facebook Live, an Instagram Live, would you say it was? One of the other Facebook Live?
Facebook, I think.
Jackson has some of the highlights. It was an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah, what were you talking about?
I didn't think it was that long.
What were you
Time
chatting
flies.
Is it not an hour and 10 minutes?
Oh, it
I think
is.
Buck Swope said on the fan page it was an hour and 10 minutes. Buck Swope also sent me a screenshot to my phone of you with Jewel. I don't mind being berated when I know it's all in fun. And that was 7 minutes ago. Oh, well, when he screenshot it was 7 minutes ago.
All right.
Why would
And
that
you,
be?
and you took that down?
I don't remember taking. I don't know why I would take it down.
Why would that bother people? Whether you put it up, took it down, whatever. It's a fun little, meaningless little tweet.
Well, they find everything, so.
Oh, they do. It's almost like they investigate.
And you can't win, no matter what you would put up there. People would complain about
I know.
it.
I was like, God, am I going to tweet out this question about, because I know it's going to be like, F off, you suck, whatever it is. I'm like, well, but maybe like one guy will go, yeah, actually in 1978, Missouri went to Oklahoma and it was for the Big 8 championship and it was on this date and that's the biggest game they've played on the road since, whatever. And I'm like, oh, it'd be worth being told to F off by dog avatars. But then we just got into more of a discussion of what counts as a road game. Doug, I don't count the game against Kansas at Arrowhead as a road game. It was a neutral site game.
Sure.
Do you count that as a road game?
Oh, I guess not.
Okay. So,
Yeah, I didn't think that was Twitter. I know I put something on Facebook. Maybe I put that on Facebook too. And I didn't like the comments that were coming in. And they weren't.
During your live session?
No, on the thing they think I deleted. I did delete one, but that was on Facebook. Only because of the comments. And it wasn't derogatory toward me. They were very mean to Lisa Ann, and I didn't like the words they were using. So I said, I'm not going to get into it. So I deleted it. So people couldn't say that stuff anymore.
Speaking of Kansas, in 2007, Todd Reesing listens to this show, and he says, it was on Friday, and it was a shot at Lisa Ann.
How do you know what it was a shot at?
Todd Reesing calling, you can move ahead of the South City aficionado.
And if it was, why would I delete it? Because I had some things to say Saturday. I'm not hiding it.
Doug, we have audio of some things Iggy had to say on Saturday.
Oh,
This
I'd love
is
to
from
hear
the
it.
press conference he held.
Okay.
Take a listen.
What one do you want?
The one where he's talking about the Lisa Ann situation.
yeah.
Oh, jeez. Hit the lever, Plowsy.
But we won't have that problem
Hawk was
anymore
up.
because
Band playing here,
I just
too?
blocked her on every waterfall, social media and phone she has, so I don't have to worry about not returning texts or messages that I don't see or I forget about.
Sounds like you're skydiving.
So that took care of that problem.
Gosh, all I hear is the roar in the back.
I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Niagara
Look,
Falls.
Whatever
just,
it is, that's all I hear.
I lose track of time sometimes.
Niagara Falls
It
is
wasn't a mean-spirited thing. It wasn't I was upset. It's no sweat off my ass if she wants to help the girl or not. I just asked. But I really did get a phone call right after that from Cave Springs Lanes about the setup for Gobble Bowl, which is 4 weeks away. Then I had a phone call from a golf course that's sending me some passes for the auction. Then I had to run to Kohl's. Then I had a Zoom call. And it slipped my mind to just return the text. It had nothing to do with, well, she doesn't want to help this girl. I'm not going to. I just asked if she could help her. It's nothing for me. Then to say, no more phones. I'm not using my phone. I'm tired of everybody asking for favors. I'm going to ask for a favor. Jesus Christ.
Whoa! Josh!
Yeah, it was an honest mistake, but if you want to take it to that point and spend a whole segment just berating me, have at it. It makes you feel better. I don't give two f***s.
Oh,
Yeah, thanks yesterday for all the DMs and texts. Yeah, it was amazing. Probably 40 or 50 of them. Close. Yeah, I wasn't looking for that.
now the wind is kicking up.
It was a windy day with the fountain in the background. It was,
Gosh,
Like my ear just took a beating.
you got to get a microphone up by your mouth, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that Iggy held a press conference at Niagara Falls. That's from the 314.
What
it
it
wasn't a
sounded
press
like.
conference. It was just a Facebook Live. I mean, we spent more time on other stuff than that.
You received 40 to 50 DMs?
DMs and texts close to it.
Wow.
Which is fine. I didn't ask for them, but people just saying she was out of line, and I agree with that.
It was a little over the top.
It was a lot over the top.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I texted somebody yesterday and wished them a happy birthday. They never got back to me. You didn't see me berating them.
You want to take it out on them now?
No, I mean, probably
you should just
busy.
wait
It
for
was a Sunday.
Yeah.
Who's checking text?
How is Lisa Ann ever going to survive Strode blocking her on social media? Let's make sure we send a social worker to check on the multimillionaire today in her Manhattan high-rise to make sure she's not having dark thoughts over Ken ghosting her. That's from Little Tommy Tribbins, who won Texter of the Year at the year-end awards last year, Doug.
Yeah.
Or was he Rookie of the Year?
I don't remember.
I didn't say it was going to bother her. It's mainly for me. That way I don't ever have to worry about not missing one of her texts and not getting back to her because she can't do it anymore, so I won't have to worry about missing them.
I'm on Iggy's side. That was ridiculous. And KG in O-Town sucks.
Oh.
That's from Little Judy Suckins.
Gosh.
That's a big endorsement to get, Iggy. Little Judy Suckins carries a lot of
Yeah,
force.
because they usually trash me.
Little Judy Suckins comes after you?
Sometimes.
All right.
I'll just give you. I'll
Suckins
just do this
family.
once. I'll give you an example.
Suckins and Tribbins families, they live by each other.
And this is the only time I've asked for a favor from her in like the last 3 years. But this is what happened when the wine. She came out with the wine, and she just got back from Italy. And this was my text to her to show that I'm not upset when I don't get things that I want. I'm sorry, it's all the way back to the.
It's okay. Doug's fine.
Well, maybe find it and get back
Yeah,
to
real
us.
quick.
Well, it was up on the one where
I tied it out with my
her first year.
paper towel.
Her first.
Nice going, Clancy.
Her first year
Got some
coming.
origami going over here.
Yeah, it
It
is.
was her first year.
Make a
coming.
bat.
Her first year coming to the Dotem. I had some text up about that.
We're going back to 5 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I was checking other texts from her to see how many times I've done that, and the answer is 0. But
Okay, good point.
well, this is just.
Yeah. I thought we were going to get some good message you were going to read or something.
We're just scrolling and waiting. Francesa talking and having issues with his phone.
Well, this is the last one I sent where I asked for a favor.
Okay, what'd you say?
And again, if you don't do something for me, I'm not going to purposely not get back to you.
Well, what did you say?
Hey, sweetie, would you
Sweetie.
feel?
Did you call her Sweetie?
Yeah. Would you feel like donating a bottle of signed wine for my charity bowling event? Let me look into that legally. Let me look into the legality of shipping where I don't distribute. It's a tricky business that way. 1 minute later, cool. Thanks, sweetie. Have a great weekend.
Sweetie.
All right, so she said no to me for a favor, and I got back to her. So to think that I didn't get back to her because she couldn't do something for another girl is ludicrous, but whatever.
You asked for a favor. She responded with what you could do. Then you didn't respond or relay it all to Brianna. You are past Gatesworth. Straight to Mobap. That's from Mr. Licks.
Yeah, I'm not going to respond to those because I've already told you what happened. You either believe me or you don't believe me. I don't care.
And why we go straight to Mobap? Is that like where it's all going to end?
They have a retirement home there.
Get a lot of snow and do the snowblower. I have a great snowblower.
Do you think we even need
Tell me
snowblowers
that's
around
not
here
a gold
anymore?
drop.
It's going to be 85 degrees on Friday. 85.
I know. 77 today, but it's 40 outside right now.
I heard 81 today by the late afternoon.
Yeah, I want
81.
Well, get ready for next week, Doug, because you'll be
I
back
saw
to
that.
coats.
How cold
Right in
next
time
week?
for Halloween, All Hallows Eve. Doug, the high next week. It is 82 for a high on Friday. But alas, a high of 46
Oh.
for All Hallows Eve.
Oh, that's awful.
It's Halloween. It's time to scare the pants off your friends. Think about that. So 82 for the high on Friday, and we can damn near cut it in half 4 days later. Storms this weekend. I got to get out of town this weekend.
Yeah, I don't like that 40-degree nonsense.
No Gers game.
But man,
Blues on the road.
over the last month, our weather has just been like
the bee's
resorts
knees.
over, yeah.
I'm telling you, you couldn't be more right about that. Well, this is what the people want to talk about. Every text is about Iggy and Lisa, and you see it, Plowhawk. Any stand out to you want to read?
No, I support it. Like, I love Elisa Ann, but like, I support Iggy as well. It's hard to watch, because there were people who sided with Iggy for the most part on the fan page, but I feel like they let it marinate, and now that we're on the show, now they're taking hits at Iggy.
Here we go again.
Yeah, so I don't know what to say. I just know I love my teammate, and he's texted me back as well, several occasions.
When you asked for a favor.
Well, just in general, I don't know if it was on purpose. To me, it was the straw that broke the camel's back. Lisa Ann probably has dealt with people asking for favors, and I'm not saying Iggy went out of line. It was just Iggy was there. It was, that breaking point, and then, S hit the fan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe I've ever asked for a favor for myself. I'd have to go back and look at all the texts over the last
You're
5
talking about
years.
with Lisa Ann, or you're just talking about in general?
Lisa Ann. I think twice I asked for something for Gobble Bowl. She wanted to sign a book. So it's for charity, not for me. And I've asked for things when she comes out to the golf tournament. Do you want to bring some books to sign? Do you want to give away a fleshlight for a long drive or whatever? That's for the golf tournament. It's not for me. So I don't believe I've ever asked her for a favor. The only time I did, and I was kidding, I wasn't even serious about it. We were talking about something. She was in Miami for Exotic or something. I said, why you had to fix me up with Lexi Bell? And she goes, I can't believe you asked me that. I don't do things like that. I wouldn't even if I knew her that well, but I don't do it, and she's married, so stop. I said, well, just for you to know, I was kidding. But she takes things too seriously sometimes. But So to lump me in with everybody else that asks you for favors is completely wrong, because I don't. You see, people, you can comment if you want, but I've dealt with her for 5 years now, and I know some of the things that I have to put up with. You don't know, and I don't make them public.
What do you have to put up with?
Well, I'm not going to say it, but it's not the first time. This is the only time it's been on the air.
So you're putting up with a lot.
I think I have. But I do. I take it with a grain of salt.
Are you talking about with her, or are you talking about the audience?
With her.
Oh, okay.
And people don't know that. So you can comment on things after you heard it Friday and think, oh, get over it. But you don't know some other things.
Oh, cryptic.
What kind of other
Yeah,
things?
I don't know. I don't know about this.
Well, I don't really mention a lot of them.
Well, obviously not.
I just let them go.
Huh. Well, what could possibly come up?
Things when she's coming in town, things when she's in town, other things. I can tell you at a break. But it's something that the audience doesn't need to know.
Huh.
Ryan and Breezy Point. What's up, Ryan?
I don't need to tell him either.
Jesus, this guy's a moron. 100% refuses to accept accountability for anything. It's adolescent behavior.
Oh.
That's from the 636.
Can't respond to you. I don't know what to tell you.
Do you think this leftover feud stems from the bizarre Taylor Swift argument you wouldn't let go a few weeks back? That's from Dogtown Ty. Didn't he win the September Milagro Tequila?
I think he may have. I think he may.
He's got a flying Sibian.
Well, I will say, ever since that day, she's taken veiled shots the last few weeks she's been on the air, which is fine. We're just having fun on the show. But I think I proved her wrong when I said, why didn't you just get a hold of her management and go backstage and say hi instead of sending a bracelet and a DM? And she said she doesn't let people backstage. And I said, well, that's wrong. I said, because I know a friend of mine got backstage to meet her, and earlier this year she talked about Bruce Springsteen coming backstage and saying hi. So she lets people backstage, and she didn't like that. I guess I guess you know more than me. And that's how she does sometimes. So.
Well, we all have stories. I've heard that.
Jon Favreau, Vince Vaughn, they were in a trailer in Las Vegas with two cocktail waitresses. 1996? Swingers?
I don't know the years.
1996.
I just don't.
Nothing like someone saying there is a lot more you don't know, but I'm not saying anything about it. Be a damn man and tell us, or don't bring it up at all in the first place. Some big old fan, and Doug, it's a beautiful morning. Wherever the big old fan is, because he's enjoying it.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to read the text.
Big old fan, we're waiting for him to call in.
He has really
I'd be happy
failed
to read
at
the
life,
text.
hasn't he?
I mean, she read mine on the air. I'd be happy to read the text, but I'm not going to stoop to that level. And I mean, I'll show you at the break. There's like 15 straight of them, but I'm not like that. I mean, it was a private text. I don't read it.
Popping off.
He's going to take the same tact he did with Sink Girl. He's going to continue to deflect blame from himself and point to, quote, things you don't know about. Cry me a river. That's from Mr. Lick.
Gosh.
Well, I'll show them at the break, and then Tim and Doug or whoever can say, yeah, he's got a point there without reading it. I'm not deflecting the blame. I mean, I didn't do anything wrong. She didn't do anything wrong except for berating me on Friday. She could have very easily called me or texted me and said, I didn't hear back from you. My response would have been, oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot all about it. That would have been it. No, she's got to wait till Friday, and I was steaming all day. How do you have time to steam with 18 jobs?
Hey, Tim, why do you only read the text criticizing Iggy? You seem to enjoy putting him down. Team Iggy, now we go. And it always somehow always has to get to my... I will read every text in order. So if you want to get something through, this is a good time to do it.
You better do it now.
Well,
because
I'm sure she is listening. Exactly. Well, I'm sure she is listening. So this will be the end of her on the show. Lisa Ann commented on somebody's post on the fan page. Oh, she posted on the fan page about this? I didn't know that.
No, I didn't see it.
I didn't see that. This weekend, so you know she is paying attention. That's from Angel the Morning After, right below that. They were both in the wrong, but Iggy digging in isn't doing him any favors. The TMA crowd loves Lisa Ann, and she has been great within the show. Plowek, are you following my reading order?
Yeah,
I need somebody to corroborate. Trashing someone that's not there to defend themselves, kind of his thing. 573. TJ, I'm sorry. Goodbye, Lisa Ann. It was fun. Then from that was Sally Land. Hey, Tim, why do you only read the text criticizing Iggy? You seem to enjoy putting him down. Bruce Springsteen? Oh, no, Shooter McGavin. If Bruce Springsteen can get backstage, then certainly Iggy should as well. Shooter McGavin.
Travis Kelce.
She rarely lets people backstage because she has to preserve her voice for 3 5-hour-long shows multiple times a week. That's from the 708 with a Taylor Swift take. Well, fellas, the Lisa Ann segments were nice while they lasted, but at least Iggy's still undefeated. That's from Pig of the Coal Mine. Iggy reminds me of Trump. What is the quality that makes a person unlistenable? That's from Jonathan Mardukas. Well, I mean, Bruce Springsteen backstage, I would say, is a little different than Lisa Ann. It's from Big Old Fan. Doug, I can keep reading all day. I effing hate Iggy. Tell us what's up with the whole story or don't bring the topic up at all. It's from John Lithgow's Harry Henderson. Austin ass hanky. He's a bitter old fart who can't admit that he pissed off a friend who has done a lot for the show. It's never his fault. And this is why I filter. But if one thinks that I am trying to execute an agenda against a guy I've worked with for 20 plus years, be my guest. The great thing for you is that I have a hole.
And what should people do?
And they have a tongue.
Oh!
Tim, let's have sex with my wife. Send pics to Doug. That's from the recovering alcoholic from Belleville.
I like how you self-censored that one.
I did. You notice that? So you're starting to notice that there is editing on the fly sometimes.
Too.
Mr. Licks is a simp. There you go, white collar gangster, and he sent that in 3 straight times.
What up, dog?
I want to make sure you read it.
Yes, he did. So there it is. My agenda has been exposed yet again. Your thoughts are welcome. You only be read, of course, if you went to St. Louis U High, preferably class of 1994, 314-881-TMA5. You can call in 636-9004 TMA, and you can get a Ward Gerbil hoodie at tmastlshop.com, and everything is 10% off at tmastlshop.com. Carlos Spicy Wiener did go to St. Louis U High, so I read the text. I mean, that's the deal. Ken, I appreciate you but just shared a damn text. You aired it out on accessible video on Facebook that's now been played on the air, so may as well just put the final few cards on the table here. Oh, and everything is Tim's fault since he manages all of Hubbard and is also acquiring the parking lot. That
Your dad
Carlos
is, if
Weiser.
not you.
Yeah, but I mean, that's just kind of understood. It's like when Stan Kroenke owned all those franchises and all of a sudden the next thing you knew his wife owned them.
Right.
It worked then.
Yeah,
I didn't,
for him,
I
worked for you.
mention her text on the Facebook Live. I mean, I didn't read them.
No. I'm concerned that you call women words like sweetie when you text them.
Well, it's a term of endearment.
I know, but
she's
it's
never
kind of
complained about it.
old-fashioned, and some women
Well,
don't like it.
I'm
now.
old.
But you have to adapt.
I don't call everybody sweetie. Only people that I know really well.
What about kiddo?
Sweetie. Well, kiddo, I call everybody kiddo, but there's nothing wrong with that.
Kitty is much more creepy for me. I like Sweetie. I like bringing that back.
Tim won't read this praise of Iggy. He takes breaks often.
Good one.
Did it. He got it in there.
Look, for people to say I keep bringing it up, I mean, we just played clips from my Facebook Live. I didn't say play them. I didn't say, can you take some clips from my Facebook Live Saturday? And they're on the show, so I commented on them.
Well, it'd be strange if we didn't talk about it.
Yeah,
It's like if we didn't
that's
talk
fine.
about Missouri.
Yeah,
just like we didn't talk about the Blues.
For them to say
Doggies playing at 9 o'clock.
For them to say I won't leave it alone, and I'm talking about it with her not on the air, and it's stupid.
Again, I'm enjoying the show.
What do you think you can mend fences?
Yeah, I really don't care if we do or not.
But can you?
I don't know.
Can
If
you
she-
get past this?
Yeah, if she, I don't know how she can reach out. She's blocked and everything. Yeah, if she says she's sorry for Friday, yeah.
But she just wanted you to say sorry on Friday.
And I think I did.
Yeah, I mean, I could see why she wouldn't think that. I mean, personally, I thought that's something that, if it were me, probably not a surprise, I wouldn't have handled that way because I like to try to handle things off the air. But I know that for audience stuff, people in the audience love that kind of stuff. But I knew that she was upset on Thursday because she texted me like that when I had texted her. And I just did it. I was working on Sound Story stuff Thursday afternoon, and I saw the clip of Brianna saying that she is going to Los Angeles, and Lisa had emailed me the previous week when she saw that we were in the New York Post. Email, though, and some people, including myself, view email correspondence as less intrusive, invasive, conveying of urgency than text. But we have a relationship where we text and email. It's not like a straight business, for lack of a better term, relationship. And I think that's the case probably for all five of us on the show. So when I texted her, it was more like just like a joke, because again, it's like I view her like as a buddy. I don't view her as a porn star, which understandably, most of the world does, and she has to live that experience. And so clearly she was pissed, and she was pissed that you didn't respond. She wasn't pissed about me texting her. She was pissed you didn't respond. And then I guess maybe thought that since you wouldn't help her out, that I was asking for it, which was, as you know, I mean, I guess only me and you know, that was not the case. It's not like you and I had texted about it. And
I was just under the impression, because I said, well, I can reach out to Lisa Ann, but you're friends with Caden. You can ask Caden. So I just figured that.
Yeah, but I wasn't looking like really like, hey, we need to really help Brianna. I'm representing Brianna. We need some help. It was more because Lisa Ann was amused by what was going on and the fact that we were in the New York Post. It's like when I'll text something or buddies text me during the day about something amusing. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, hey, Lisa Ann, I need you to drop what you're doing and work on this Brianna Coppage situation. It was just like, it's like I'm working and just offhanded. Here it is. Now, with Caden, who I don't communicate with as much as I do with Lisa Ann, since she said she was going out there, then I said, hey, if you're going to be working with her, here you go. And she's on our show, and I got to tell you, I think she's got her crap together. and I'd said she has one master's degree and was pursuing a second, I think, something along those lines. Yeah. And Kate and I, if you've listened to her on the show or on my podcast, it's been a running joke how I will find adult talent for Caden before her and Manuel do. So it's just a dumb thing that we've done since she came on the show like in 2009. And she's a buddy who's been in, again, I know it's a porn star, but somebody I've known and I've hung out with, I've met her husband and daughter, and she knows Anna Marie. So anyway, whatever. But I understand how if you're in the audience, you're like, what are these guys texting porn stars trying to help out? I understand how it looks, but it's not, it's like, man, I hope Brianna likes me if I hook her up with, that's
it has nothing to do with it. She was kind enough to come on our show, and she came on the other day at spur of the moment. I just texted her, said, sure. So I'm just trying to be nice and help her out. If I can help her out, I will. It's nothing about, hey, look what I did for you.
But I think what Lisa Ann's core issue is when you didn't do what she wanted, you went dark. That was the core. It wasn't about you texting her. That's what pissed her off.
Well, then she doesn't know me very well as I thought she did. To think that I'm going to get upset about that and not text her back. I just read you the one where I asked her for a bottle of wine for Gobble Bowl, and she said, I'll have to check. I don't know the legality.
I understand. I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm just trying to identify for the purpose of giving some more context to the people listening, and also Doug and Plowhawk and Jackson, who weren't involved in those texts.
That's obviously why she's upset.
That's what it was about. And then having been in that spot sometimes with people who, certainly have, I don't know what the right word would be, I guess fame, but I don't necessarily view it as fame because I'll communicate with people who certainly don't have fame, but I know are super busy. And if you catch them with a text and they're in a bad place mentally, stressed out, which, obviously can happen if you have a lot going on, and you don't have to have money or fame, by the way, to be stressed out, then you just recognize it and you go, okay, and then you apologize and then you just move on. That's, in my opinion, the best way to handle it, which is what I did on Thursday, because I recognized she was clearly stressed out because I received something similar to what you received.
I didn't receive that, so I didn't know.
Oh, you didn't receive? I thought she screenshotted what she sent to me, but maybe not. She screenshotted what she sent to you to me.
Yeah.
Or she just cut and pasted.
But I didn't know she was upset.
Yeah.
I didn't hear from her after that.
But I thought that's what she texted me was what she texted you.
She texted me, and when she got to the last one, I got the phone call. Then I got another phone call. And to be honest with you, I didn't even finish reading the entire last part of the text because it was like 3 paragraphs long.
Right. Well, that's what she sent me. She goes, I'm sending you what I sent Iggy.
Yeah.
I don't have time for this. I'm doing all this. And I'm like, I get, I wasn't like, how dare you talk to me like that? I'm just like, okay, I've been on the receiving end of this stuff before.
She explained all that to you. But I didn't know all that. I didn't know that she was in the middle of a Zoom meeting.
It was clearly frustration. I'm just like, I get what the situation is. She's upset. It's cool. And so in that situation, you just apologize and then you just move on. And it's like, who cares? So when I was bringing her on Friday morning, I wasn't going, man, this could get awkward. It wasn't even on my mind that it would be discussed.
I didn't think so either.
Well, no, I understand that. But obviously it still bothered her because she hadn't heard back from you. So that's the core issue. It was, effing Plowboy's like vacationing with her. At least that was the plan, right? You're going to New York and hanging out with her?
Yeah.
And you hung out with her for however many days in Jamaica. The thing is, I think what winds up happening, in particular because of social media, and that's fine, because there's nothing we can do to fix it. It's not fixable. Is that oftentimes people feel like they have to determine, are they on Iggy's side, are they on Lisa Ann's side, who was in the right and who was in the wrong. And here's the thing, I've known you since I was an intern at KFNS in college, and if you were some kind of problem, you wouldn't be on the show. If you were a bad guy, we wouldn't want you on the show as show. There's ways to fix things for problems behind the scenes. So the fact that you've been on the show however many different times speaks to how people feel about you, both on the show and around this building. And then I also know, with regards to Lisa Ann, on her own, something that wasn't even crossing my mind. I don't know if I texted her or she texted me. I have no idea how it came to pass, or maybe she was watching the show. But when she was aware that Jay was sick last year and we were going to be doing something to help raise his spirits because we were hopeful that he was still going to be around in December, and of course he passed in November, on her own, she said, I'm going to fly to St. Louis because I want to see Jay. Not that the show would even be there, not that there would be cameras there. So, I mean, that tells you about somebody's character. Now, if somebody comes from the school of thought, if you have sex on camera, then you have to be a bad person. And I realize there's a good portion of people who view things through that lens, and that's fine. And that's not necessarily this audience anyway, and you're not going to win those people over. But those are the kinds of things that I know that she's done. And then I know how hard you work from a selfless standpoint for the Megan Meyer Foundation. So just because maybe two people did something that if with some clarity 3 or 4 days later they would have liked to have done differently, that doesn't mean that's a bad person, or now I'm not on that person's side, or I like this person now because they came after the person I don't like. And I think that's what's wound up taking place over the last 72 hours, when in reality I think both of you are people that I want to be associated with, and it'd be unfortunate if she doesn't want to be on the show going forward. If it happens, it happens, but it would be a shame if that's the case. I think all she wanted was an apology, and sometimes you apologize. I mean, I know you haven't been married, but my God, anybody who's been married knows you apologize even if you're like, what the hell? But you just do it, because then you move on, because you have a relationship. And I think that's all she wanted.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, she got it. When I found out what she was upset about, I had no idea she was mad. I honestly forgot to respond to the text. It had nothing to do with being mad. So I had no idea she was upset about it until she came on here and just started going crazy. And my apology was, I said, I just forgot. I wasn't mad, so I apologize for not getting back to you. To me, that's an apology. I said, I'm sorry. I didn't know that I'd forgotten that you had texted me, to be honest with you. So that was it. That was my apology. And then she went on and on and on and on. And, you know, I'm not saying she doesn't do great things for the show and for other people. She does. But what happened Friday just pissed me off.
Well, and I understand that. I understand that.
So I'm not saying she's a mean person, she's terrible.
I'm not saying you're saying that. I'm saying I know that the nature of something like what happened on Friday, then what takes place in social media, and this is not limited to our show, this is just the way it is. Are you team Iggy? Are you team Lisa Ann? Are you team Cam? Are you team Kanye? That kind of stuff.
No. And I know you didn't mean that, but I'm basically talking to the people that think that, you know, oh, you forget about all the stuff she's done. No, I don't. I'm not saying I think she's a wonderful person. She's done, but what she did Friday pissed me off. That's all I can say. So to say, drop it, leave her alone, I can't believe you're mad. No, you get upset about things. Just like she got upset about thinking I ghosted her, which wasn't the case. Well, I got upset that she did it on the air.
My wife gets mad at me when I don't respond to her texts. That's why women are yucky, and I now bang her father. It's in the 314.
Gosh.
See, that's what can happen.
That doesn't usually happen.
Can, though.
Just with a text that went unanswered?
See, like, this is maybe different, but I love Madison to death, but I have a hard time apologizing, or the right way to apologize.
It's an art form.
So I have learned to adapt.
Best learn it or get a prenup.
So I know both sides of the story, because Iggy, I would have taken that 4 years ago as a legit apology, but that's how I used to apologize. But people who feel in the wrong... And I'm not picking sides. I love them both. I love Lisa and Iggy, my boy. I've worked with him for 10 years. So there's no sides for me. I love them both. I'm not going to choose sides. However, like, Lisa Ann would not see that as an apology. Similar to, like, I just had to learn to actually apologize because you're trying to deflect it. And I think that's what Lisa Ann's trying to say is you were poo-pooing it. I'm not saying you weren't, but that's how she's taking it. So again, there's no sides. I get where Iggy's coming from. And
I agree with you.
I thought that was a legit apology 4 years ago when I was like, I just didn't know how people reacted to certain apologies. So I think that's how you feel.
Well, it was a legit apology. I mean, that's all I could say is I'm sorry if you took it that way. I apologize. That's not what happened. I don't know what you wanted me to do. Oh my God, I am so sorry. Oh, I'm such an idiot. You're right. Oh my God, I can't believe I did that. No. I apologize for not getting back to her, which was an honest mistake. That's my apology.
Erin has nipple rings, Doug, and she says he apologized with excuses, and it was more of a, I'm sorry you feel that way. And that's not a sincere apology. That's from Erin with nipple rings in the YouTube chat.
It weren't excuses. It was the truth. All I can do is tell you what happened. wasn't making an excuse.
Right, but what I'm telling you, and what the Plowboy was saying, and I thought he said it quite well, is if you are in an argument with someone, and both of us are speaking more from our significant others, that if I were to say to my wife, who's clearly upset about some dumb crap I did, I'm sorry you feel that way, it ain't going to work.
Yeah,
well, she's not my wife.
I understand, but she's still a human being, and from an empathy standpoint, that's just not how you get legislation passed.
Well, that was my apology.
Well, okay, and you can dig in on that, but that's why she's still pissed. So I'm explaining it to you, and you're welcome to keep that. I mean, you and producer Joe, even though you're enemies, you have a lot in common when it comes to that. You know, digging in.
I apologize for something I didn't do, but fine. If you need an apology, I will explain to you what
Right,
happened.
I understand.
But I'm not going to do that. I'm not
Okay,
going to
well,
bend over
that's what I'm
backwards
saying.
to
Oh, you're good.
make somebody who
Yeah.
just
We understand your position. I'm just
Yeah.
telling you that's why it's going to
Well,
continue.
that's a shame.
Yeah, I'm not telling you to actually, like Iggy, I'm not telling you to do anything, man. I'm, and again, like, I know exactly what that apology is, because that's how I used to. And again, it's hard to, you just, adding the excuses was what I had to learn, or reasoning, not excusing, because yours weren't excuses, your were actual reasons, but Lisa Ann looks at them like excuses, even though you're pointing out actual reasons why you didn't. People that feel wronged aren't going to feel that way. That's all I'm saying. Again, I love Iggy, but also I've been in enough arguments that are my fault in terms of, like Tim said, me doing something stupid and trying to deflect. So both parties I can see. Iggy was trying to apologize legitimately. Lisa Ann, it wasn't the apology she was looking for. I think that's a good way to explain it.
I agree with you on that, Plowhawk. I think you're having a monster 10 minutes.
Wow.
Monster 10
You're
minutes.
explaining it better than I could, Plowsy.
I'm just the perfect amount of high, Doug.
Oh, is that what it is?
No, I'm kidding. That donut was bomb, though.
Was it nice?
Oh, it's so good. Perfect layer of frosting. Mm.
She's not that cool, Tim. Stop simping for her. I found the one text that could criticize me,
That's
even though they're all
so good.
criticizing
That's
Iggy.
so good, though.
Well, I don't think anything horrible really happened here.
Again,
It
yeah.
was a text that went unanswered, and she perceived it as rude, so she was upset by that. But, I mean, we all wish we had moments back, wish we had responded differently to a text or said something different or behaved differently in the moment. And if it's not a real biggie, I don't like to get hung up on it and worry and stress and fight about it. I'd like to be able to say, okay, I wish I could have done that differently. Okay, sorry about that. All right, what's next? I mean, this is
Normally
really
I
not.
would.
This is not a really life and death
it's
type
not.
of situation.
Normally I would.
I like it.
But with
though.
some of the things she said in her rant.
It warranted a press conference from Niagara Falls.
It sure did.
The whole press conference wasn't about that. I talked about other
It
things.
sounded like you were
It was a
exploring
nice
space.
It was a nice day out there.
I would just say, let it go. Let it go.
Well, I
Let
think
it
that's
all
probably it. We discussed it this morning, and it was more the context of what she was saying in that. Basically, telling me all I do is ask for favors. She's tired of it, being nice to everybody, and they don't care. She's got all this stuff going on, and all I do is ask, answer favors. Making it sound like all I ever do is text her for favors, which I've just pointed out how many times I've asked her. None for me.
Well, I
A couple
actually,
times for the show and a couple times for charity. Never have I asked for anything for me.
I think dissecting it, like the first 4 or 5 minutes, you could tell what was going to be about Iggy or what was coming. But the first 4 minutes felt like it was a bunch of other things. Now, legitimate things, I'm sure. I don't know in the ins and outs, but like this might have been the last straw, or maybe a quote unquote easy target because he's here and she's like she's ready to vent. So the first 4 minutes just sounded like she was ready to get things off her chest, and then brought into the Iggy thing. And we've all been in situations where once you get started, it's really hard to stop. Like when I'm passionate about something, or in a heated debate, it's really hard for me to calm down. So maybe that was the case to where once you get going about a topic that maybe you've been holding in for weeks or months on end, and you just explode. And I understand that side as well, because you're human. It always happens. It's going to happen.
Yeah, they say when you get in an argument and someone's yelling at you, pay attention to what they're saying, because they've been holding that stuff in for
That's
a long
forever.
time.
Yeah. It went from calm to just boom.
It's good counsel. Tim, why do you only read texts that criticize you? Bet you won't read this one. You're really cute, and I hope to one day birth a broadcast prodigy just like you. Yep, won't be read, coward. Doug, that's from Brian Henshin. Colts and Browns, a lot of offense in that one that he covered yesterday.
Yeah, I picked up the Browns defense thinking the Colts were going to be stifled. Man, Gardner Minshew. He's good.
I bet Henshin will have a feature on him this week.
He probably will.
One-on-one on the
Turn
field.
his back on the high school scene completely.
Well, where he went to high school, he'll talk to his high school football coach.
Now you're going to have to apologize to Henshin.
Human beings have feelings, right or wrong. That's the way it is. We should empathize with those feelings, talk things out, and make sure we preserve relationships that mean something to us. This is not an endorsement of either side, and I mean that seriously. I hope things get worked out. That's from KG in O-Town.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Amen, Plowsy. That's from Mr. Licks. You got Mr. Licks support. Are you Mr. Licks on the same team? I can't recall who the alliances are.
You know, we kind of, don't have any chemical warfare going on. We're kind of in the Geneva Convention to where, we get along.
Play by the rules.
Yeah, it's not like I'm going to call him to hang out.
Iggy needs to call her and apologize. This show's awful. She's the one bright spot. It's impossible to find another famous porn star. Not hard to find a guy who can't show up to work on time and breathe into the microphone.
Oh.
I got to say, that's a funny text.
That
Iggy,
set us
it's
back.
funny because it's obviously not true, but that's...
Well, it's funny, but I could find many, many porn stars that join us, so that's
nice.
false.
Who else would you find?
I like that response.
Who else would you find?
Many, many.
Many. I don't know.
Can
her
you get
work.
Eloise on? I'd really like that.
Dusty's not getting back to me.
Dusty Baker busy right now. Game 7 tonight. Astros and Rangers.
Well, she got back to me. It said all I can do is send her a DM on Twitter because we don't rep her. She's in our new movie. But I can reach out to her and see if she'll come on. And I haven't heard, so I guess that didn't work.
Will Ken commit to being in studio on Friday? That's from Gummy.
Yeah, whether I participate or not, but I'll be in here.
Well, maybe we'll find some detente. Have a week to let things simmer a little bit.
Perestroika?
Yeah. I bet that's what happens.
All she got to do is apologize.
Well, oh, no.
That's all it'll take.
I don't know if that's, I'll be honest, going to go over well.
Plowboy, now you're having a huge 15 minutes.
I don't think it will either.
The perfect amount of high. You become the Dalai Lama when you hit that.
I got to write this down, this recipe.
If this is the situation with the falling out with Lisa Ann, it makes you wonder what Ned Reynolds actually did to Kem. That's from glove blogger Tom Traven.
Was this worse than the Ned Reynolds episode?
No, I mean, Ned tried to get me fired. So.
And how did he do
At
it?
least it's not going to try to get you fired.
Totally different.
Find one porn star to get on this week. Do it. You're all talk. It's from Big Ol' Fan.
This is just a horny dude that wants another porn star to look up, and he's desperately hoping Iggy brings one in.
Well, you could get one, but whether they would be a fantasy football expert, that's a whole different
Go to PTs
matter.
and just say, hey, you're
There's
pinup
not many
girl,
I know
all
that
right.
would be worth a weekly segment. But yeah, I could get plenty.
Many.
Many.
Well, I'm sure they're all looking for some level of, get their name out there. They want to market themselves. I'm sure almost any of them would go on and do
Nothing
a radio
wrong with that.
interview. No, that's why I say it's probably an easy class of people to get.
I got to say, I don't know when we're breaking, but I will get better at teasing.
Oh, what do we got going on here? Wow, Plowhawk's about to... a big 20 minutes now.
Really?
I may have been a little bit too excited last night about a potential idea I had, and I may have texted Tommy at like 9 o'clock this huge long idea I had.
Oh, no.
I haven't heard from
On
him
a Sunday?
Doug, we might need to have an intervention with Pepper and Jeannie.
Oh,
This was
I see that
after
our
the job review?
I see that our Monday
I
meeting
felt
was
like we were
canceled.
in the texting like realm, obviously the Lisa
Yeah.
Ann thing we touched on. I felt like, I don't know if I made a boo-boo. I put at the end, it wouldn't cost Hubbard any money. I don't know if
How high were you?
I wasn't that. It was just an idea. I don't know why I thought of it.
An idea for the show?
But we had our meeting on Friday, and,
Sure
and
you
he said, I'd love to have some ideas, to work with KG on some video. I said, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it came to me like a bolt
He
of
wants some
lightning.
ideas for KG and O-Town?
Well, he just wanted some like YouTube video quality ideas or something that quick and easy to put on Twitter, which is super
Yeah, he didn't mention Casey.
easy.
Did he mention KG in O-Town?
I mentioned KG because I'm not taking any video for myself, so I wanted to make sure I have a videographer with him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was some videos that I thought would be fun, and I texted him, and I didn't hear back, and I kind of felt...
Well, he was asleep.
I didn't know. 9 o'clock, it was tough, like 8:45, 9 o'clock, at that gray area.
Probably locked in that Eagle.
It was 9:45. You said
No,
9?
8:45 to 9 range. But it was a really long text.
Oh, how long was this text?
Long enough.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you regretted right after you sent it?
He didn't get back to you?
Not right after, but 5 minutes after when there was no. I'm like,
Yeah.
Did he respond?
He hasn't yet.
Well, go ahead and berate him.
Oh, come on now.
Uh-oh. Doug, we went full circle.
Yeah, we kind of met back, from the beginning. So, but I think you and Lisa will squash it. I have confidence. I think this is going to be a back of the page story in a few days.
Boy, we've been through hell with this.
Well, it should be the back of the story now. We've talked about it today. We've discussed it, so that's pretty much it.
But the wound is still festering.
KG in O-Town just sent open eye emojis. What has he got going on?
Does that mean he's excited about these ideas that Plowsy has presented?
No, it just I just thought like the text was probably Tommy, has like a life and like a family and like a way more important job than I could ever even achieve. Now, I'm getting a text from this 120-pound malnourished lesbian twink.
Thank you.
About an idea that he probably will never watch, will never be a part of. And so that's... I didn't think about that while going into the text, but like as you think about that after, you're like, wow, there needs to be a delete button on a text. Just you get 3 minutes to just take it out of somebody else's phone.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a fun little feature.
Why are these two morons trying to ruin a show? All they have to do is show up every day for 3 hours and act like idiots. Shut it off after that. That's from Harrison's brother Master.
Geniuses like us, we're always working.
Absolutely.
Always trying to find that.
The brain is constantly going, yeah. Oh, well, some people like things. Some people don't like other
That's
things.
exactly right. All right, we'll wrap up our Munganess St. Louis Acura Alton Toyota 7 o'clock hour. The Colonel is going to join us, brought to you by James Carlton, coming up at 9 o'clock. And, Plowk, what do you want to read this text, this idea that you sent,
I can.
Tommy?
We don't even have to talk about it. I just thought, like, to try
You're
to...
getting better at teasing.
Well, I wanted to take the heat off it. Yeah, I felt like we were putting like a 100-pound
So you sent the text
weight.
to Tommy to get the heat off?
No, I brought it up this morning to try to,
That's
like...
meta.
After about 30 minutes of Lisa Ann and people, the text line kind of berate Niggy, I wanted to kind of shift that negativity off him a little bit. So I'm trying to help my boy out by bringing up an embarrassing, potentially idiotic text non-exchange because I haven't got a response that I have.
And now you're going to berate Tommy?
I'm not going to berate him yet. No, I'll give him the 36-hour rule, similar to the 48-hour rule that Jackson gives.
Oh, yeah, he gives that 48-hour rule. I want to hear how Jackson did in Columbia for homecoming. Jackson's been, I guess he was saving that for balloon party and his people. Send your emails in the morning after at InsideSTL.com for the Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day. Design Air is the official HVAC provider of TMA and the Tim McKernan Show podcast. Doug, listen, we've been warning you now for a month. Now we mean it. High of 46 next Tuesday, high of 47 next Wednesday. It's over, brother.
I don't like
all
that.
right? That's November.
I don't care.
You got November, December, January, February, March, and if we're going to be honest about it, April. It's just the way that it is.
Yeah.
We'll be fine. But your furnace may not. Get it tuned up with Seth Goldcamp and his staff at Design Air Heating and Cooling. You can go do it now, and then you know you're good for the winter. DesignAirService.com, the official HVAC provider of TMA and the Tim McKernan Show. Any questions, comments you have for QFTA, send them to tmckernan at InsideSTL.com or use the TMA STL app to send emails to me as well. There you go. All right, we'll close out the Munganess St. Louis Acura Alton Toyota. 7 o'clock hour, this is TMA from the Michelob Ultra Studios.
Live from the Michelob Ultra Studios, KPNT-FM HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. This is TMA All Day.
Rosalitas know that a fun happy hour and scenic patio go together like fresh guac and chips.
So take advantage of their covered patio this fall and winter at their De Pere location and enjoy happy hour specials Monday through Friday from 3 to 6. Their sparkling margarita is made with Chambord raspberry liqueur and topped with a bottle of rosé Prosecco. They also have a variety of delicious margarita flavors, including mango, pomegranate, and blood orange, all made with top-shelf tequila and Cointreau. With phenomenal service, great margaritas, and a breathtaking atmosphere, there's always a reason to come to Rosalita's.
Here's Action Jackson with 3 more ways to get TMA content.
Get the TMA mobile app and enable notifications so you don't miss a thing. See our content on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Stream us on the TMA mobile app and at TMASTL.com.
Thanks, Jackson. It's the morning after on 105.7 FM HD2.
Biggie's Restaurant and Bar has been a staple of the community for over 30 years and is serving your favorites like a steak sandwich, waffle fries, and so much more. It's not just the food that's rocking. With a full bar and patio, Biggie's is the perfect spot for lunch, dinner, and a little laughter. Biggie's original hours are back. Open 11 a.m. till midnight, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And 11 a.m. till 1 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. Check out the full menu at biggiesrestaurant.com and stop in today.
Bet like the pros with the world's largest sports book right at your fingertips. Circus Sports is now available in Illinois. Hi, I'm Derek Stevens. I've been a lifelong sports bettor, and I'm the owner of Circus Sports. We're excited that the Circus Sports app is now ready for action. Experience big app bets with high betting limits, tight money line splits, and more. Now you can download, fund, and bet like a pro from anywhere in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circusports.com. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text ILGAMB to 833-234.
If you're sick of having slow internet that doesn't reach every nook and cranny of your house, I'm here to introduce Whisper, the rural internet provider with no hidden fees, no contracts, and high speeds, all for a low cost. Whisper offers first-class customer service that'll help you set up and answer any questions along the way. And Whisper is offering free installation now till the end of October. Call Whisper at 800-765-7772 to learn more and use promo code TMA to get free installation. That's 800-765-7772 with promo code TMA.
Urban Dictionary defines thirsty as purposely, knowingly, and recklessly attempting to gain fame to boost self-esteem. So, are you thirsty? Well, TMA has you covered. Become a part of the 2023 TMA Listener of the Month Club. You nominate yourself for a monthly award. And if you win, you get recognition and stuff to help you satisfy that insatiable thirst. We're talking January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, etc. Go to TMASTL.com or the TMA app. Give us your name, a photo, and other pertinent information. Tell us why you deserve to be TMA Listener of the Month. And if you don't want to use your real name or photo, we don't really care. The TMA Listener of the Month. Get recognized just for being you, or fake you, or whatever. Quenched by Milagro Tequila. Welcome to the brighter side of tequila with Milagro in the morning after on KPNT HD2. TMA presents their second ever trivia night, November 11th at Tim's alma mater, St. Gabe's, starting at 7:30 p.m. A little different than last year. Not just TMA trivia, all trivia, sports, entertainment, STL-centric, and a few rounds of TMA trivia thrown in for good measure. And it's hosted by Tim, Doug, Iggy, Plowsy, Action Jackson, and whoever else is on the show. You can purchase single tickets, tables of 8, or anything in between. Tickets are on sale now and are $45 a person. A portion of the proceeds from the event will go to St. Gabe's. Tickets include food from Salt and Smoke and all your Anheuser-Busch beer. But feel free to bring your own food and drink too. Another TMA Trivia Night, November 11th. Get more info and find out how to buy tickets at TMASTL.com.
Hey, this is Tim McKernan. I'm with a great sponsor of TMA, and that's Longo Biggs of the Longo Biggs Injury Law Firm. People are starting to head out now. It is summertime, but that means an increase in car accidents.
Hey, guys. Like Tim just said, summer is finally here, and that means there's more people on the roadways. And you might be going to a Cardinals game, or maybe you're headed home from taking your buddy's money on the golf course. But with increased traffic on the roads, it also means a higher likelihood for car accidents. If you get in an accident, contact our firm immediately. We've successfully handled a countless number of car, motorcycle, and truck accidents. And if you go to our website, you will see we have received awards for doing so. We will make the process easy for you while maximizing the compensation you receive. Go to our website or Google Longo Biggs Injury Law.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. When we think of a real estate agent, we think of somebody simply selling our home or finding us a new one. I mean, they're all the same, right?
Okay, here's the comps. We'll take some pics, we'll post them, and I'll get back to you, okay?
A home is life-changing, and your real estate agent should reflect that. Honesty, integrity, and someone who will go above and beyond to make your dreams come true.
The Jeff Lutman Group with Compass Realty. We're different because you're different. We want what you want. Experience the difference today at jefflutman.com, bringing people and properties together.
Do you want to support the EDF Group as a sponsor of TMA? Well, it's real simple. Do you have a fire extinguisher where you work? The answer is yes, you certainly do. So please email the EDF Group at fire@theedfgroup.com so a technician can come out and explain to your team how the EDF Group can save your company money. Again, that email address is fire@theedfgroup.com. The EDF Group is hot and will prevent your facility from having hot fires. Experience the EDF Group difference. Learn more at theedfgroup.com. The Illinois Recovery Center is dedicated to providing precise and authentic care to those seeking help and treatment. Whether you've made the life-saving choice to seek help on your own or you want to be prepared for the other end of an addiction intervention with a loved one, the chance to learn about addiction recovery is available to you at the Illinois Recovery Center in Swansea. If you or someone you know wants more information about the Illinois Recovery Center, please call 888-472-9559 or email info@illinoisrecoverycenter.com.
Hey, this is Joe Buck. We all have people we miss and who we would do anything to see or hear again. Whenever I want to hear my dad's voice, all I have to do is go to YouTube, but most people don't have that luxury. Now with Sound Story, your family's stories can be saved forever. Sound Story is a professionally produced hour-long conversation in which you or one of your loved ones is interviewed by the host of your choice, including TMA's own Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, and Jackson Burkett. Hundreds of St. Louisans have already told their stories with Sound Story, and the experience is one they loved.
I think everybody that can do it, they should, for their children, for their grandchildren, because I know I would give anything to hear my parents' voice.
Visit mysoundstory.com today and use promo code TMA for 10% off your Sound Story gift certificate purchase. That's mysoundstory.com. Promo code TMA for 10% off your Sound Story gift certificate purchase. Sound Story. For you, for them, forever.
Well, let's put our golf where our mouths are. Now.
It's the morning after.
KPNT-FM HD2.
The North Carolina Tar Heels.
Didn't they lose?
The Clemson Tigers.
I mean, North Carolina's number 10 in the country. I said, Doug, I like them as a dark horse to win the national championship.
Yeah.
5 days later, they lose to one of the worst teams in the Power Five. Only Washington losing to Arizona State would have superseded it. Holy crap. That's a disaster. And that's the thing. I know a lot of people, Missouri fans, are like, what in the hell was going on in the second half there? But, it's tough for a number of places with their fan bases, and understandably so, to realize that these are not NFL players. These are 18, 19, 20, 21, 22-year-olds. And I think oftentimes for schools who come off of a huge win with a lot of attention on it, to carry that over the following week. And you saw it with Washington this week against Oregon, and they dodged it. But North Carolina, coming off of a big win against Miami, did not dodge it. And Missouri had a big win against Kentucky, and they certainly came out ready to go. Second half was a different story, but I feel like there's another example this week that you saw a team, Oklahoma. Oklahoma's game against Texas was a couple weeks ago, but Oklahoma nearly lost. Felt like that didn't get much attention, but it was an 11 o'clock game, and they were playing UCF, and that was in Norman. So, Doug, you know what the name of the game is? Just win?
What? Just win.
Yeah, Oklahoma's losing until like 4 minutes left in the game, I think.
What is Arizona State's excuse for not being any good? I mean, it has to be pretty easy to recruit to Phoenix, right?
Arizona's actually pretty decent this year. Arizona State is
what's Arizona State's excuse for being so bad? As of a couple years ago, it was the largest college in America. It had 59,000 undergraduate students. It's in a great place.
Gorgeous.
Got all kinds of facilities, close to California with, thousands of players.
Well, you talk about Jake Plummer.
Oh. Yeah, I don't understand. To me, it seems like that ought to be one of the crown jewels of athletics.
I'm looking at the campus, and it's insane.
It is.
It's just
You gotta check out that ass.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it was.
How could
I
you
mean,
not
when I was in
recruit there?
college, it was the party school. And this was granted in 2007 to 2011.
Yeah.
Hey, Tim, UNC BF'd me on a money line parlay. Mac Brown can suck a butt.
Hey,
that's from Maxwell Hung.
That's too harsh. Way too harsh.
We have the Colonel joining us coming up at 9 o'clock. He's presented to you by James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email today coming your way at 9:45. Jackson and I go down the hallway. You switch over to the 101 ESPN YouTube, and you talk it over with... Who's over there, Jackson? Is that Tiny PP?
That's right.
Tiny PP really runs things in that YouTube chat. So switch over there while you're in the YouTube chat on TMA. Then you just switch over. What do we got going on here? In our YouTube chat. Well, a bunch of people are watching today. 303. Pete's premature picks. Duke over 47. Oregon over 49.5. Ole Miss Vandy under 63.5. Oregon State minus 3.5. Also in made available, we SGP the Ohio game, taking the over in Ohio State at minus 9.5. Ohio State game. Taking the over and whoa, we got a tout in the YouTube chat. How about that?
We don't need any touts.
Pete is selling his services. No, he just gave it out for free.
Everybody sounds like they know what they're talking about until the game is actually played.
What are you talking about?
Wait a minute. It's like all kind of random.
It's a tight read. You know what? Surprisingly, this weekend, I only made one little stupid ass. I think it was 11 o'clock games parlay. I was like, I'll do it since I hit it last week. Lost 3 of the 4. Nice knowledge. Ass pony.
Well, when you're dealing with human beings, much less
college
half of them teenagers, you never know what's going to... That's also what makes college football so interesting, is you never really know what might happen. They might miss a short field goal where, in the NFL, it'd be automatic.
Right.
Punter might drop a snap right to him, possibly change the course of a game. You might take stupid penalties for roughing the passer because you're so emotional. It happens. It happens to every team.
Hey, Tim, I wouldn't mind knocking up a couple Arizona State townies high on blow and rolling balls on X like I did in Champaign. Thanks. That's from the recovering alcoholic from Melvin Lester Groves.
Why did we look down on townies when we were in college?
I tell you
Why,
what,
the people that
they
live
were-
there.
Cutters in Bloomington. Are they called Cutters in Bloomington?
I don't
and that was
know.
breaking away. Dennis Quaid. Am I right about that?
I don't have any
You know
idea.
what the townies were great for is finding those cheap drug dealers. Because
All right.
the kids on campus would, upcharge because of the convenience factor of just going down to like B75, their room. The townies give you another option.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you to the townies out there.
Yeah, I appreciate them.
I'd like to tell people where they can text, and that's the EDF Group text inbox. It's 314-881-TMA5. You can call in. Looks like the phone lines might be open. 636-900-4TMA, and then email in and try to compete with the greats. We got a tight race here in this Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email of the day for our email of the month standings the morning after at InsideSTL.com. Do you want to support our text inbox sponsor? The EDF Group is a sponsor of TMA. Well, it's real simple. Do you have a fire extinguisher where you work? The answer is yes, you certainly do. So please email the EDF Group at fire@theedfgroup.com so a technician can come out and explain to your team how the EDF Group can save your company money. Again, that email address is fire@theedfgroup.com. The EDF Group is hot and will prevent your facility from having hot fires. Experience the EDF Group difference. Learn more at theedfgroup.com. Jackson, tell me about Mark Hanna, because I think he's a wonderful man and a life Sherpa.
I agree with both of those sentiments.
Wow.
And I can tell you firsthand, because I work with Mark Hanna. I remember my first phone call with Mark Hanna thinking, I'll try this, but I don't know if I necessarily need this. When you talk with Mark Hanna, you're like, oh, I want this guy in my corner. And it's really important to plan your finances for the future. You might think like, oh, I can just kind of fly by the seat of my pants and figure it out as I go. Not a good idea. A good idea is working with someone like Mark Hanna, because he is so intelligent, and more so than that, he is great at communicating his message to his client. That's why I work with Mark Hanna, and that's exactly why you should work with Mark Hanna.
His number is 314-889-0503, or just go online at evergreenstl.com. Well, you might not be feeling great today. It is a Monday after all. But have you been experiencing that on Tuesdays, on Wednesdays, and then Thursdays and Fridays, and maybe even in the weekend? Well, those can be symptoms of low testosterone, low energy, low motivation. You might be putting on weight, you're working out, you're not putting on muscle like you used to. Mentality is a local healthcare facility specifically dedicated to helping men feel and perform at their very best. I got tested out there. All you got to do is go to lowtusa.com Even if you've tried testosterone before, not everyone understands the blood chemistry and men's bodies, and Mentality can help. Just go to lowtusa.com. That's lowtusa.com. That's Mentality. And think about it. Plowhawk, do you want to read this idea that you sent to our boss, even though we all know I own and operate everything? Last night at 9 o'clock, 8:45.
Yeah, and I didn't notice. I checked my email this morning. So he didn't respond to the text, which is completely understandable. Again, he has a big boy job handling much more important programming, and certainly at 9 p.m. doesn't need this nonsense creeping its ugly tail at the tail end of the weekend. But I did notice in my email that... we used to have the TMA weekly meetings, and so it's always on the calendar. You get the 15-minute, 30-minute updates. That has now been, let me make sure I read the correctly.
It's canceled.
Canceled by Tommy.
Doug, they're smoking us out of our holes.
Like the rats that we are.
I felt like maybe not responding to the text and then openly canceling the TMA weekly meeting calendar.
He doesn't ever want to talk with you again.
That's such a power move.
Yeah.
And again, respect the hell out of it. But I can read the text. It's stupid. I don't even know if it's a good idea. But I was just
I hope he
watching
doesn't
it.
feel like he has to change his phone number or anything now.
Doug, I have not texted him in a long time until I missed my company meeting and my review, but he was fine with that. So, super sick idea I had, Tommy.
You were high when you did this, weren't you?
Absolutely.
He probably stopped right there.
Quote, Tales from the Tank Lid.
Oh,
Doug.
Tank lid.
I was sitting here and thinking it would be pretty awesome if I was eating KG's food he cooked on a cooking show on the Tank Lid. Wouldn't cost Hubbard any money. However, I'd be eating it reverse cowgirl on the Tank Lid, telling stories or answering questions live. Do you have any feedback? Again, wouldn't cost Hubbard any money.
This show is over as we know it.
It doesn't sound as good of an idea right now as I read it back as it did.
You want to sit on the toilet eating food off the tank lid.
As I was doing this, I was also preparing peanut butter cookies. I made peanut butter cookies last night, and I was sticking, the fork on the side to make the imprint, for the peanut butter.
And you were thinking, this is a pretty good idea.
And I was thinking, man, I could eat these reverse. Well, then I set my clothes on the tank lid, as I do every night right before I
Ellen
brush
says
my
this
teeth.
can't be real.
No.
She doesn't believe it's real.
That's not
You're going to show it on the YouTube chat. There it is. Oh, I think it's real. There's not a doubt. I watched you ask the man if you could start an OnlyFans, so I know it's in the range of
And he was
behavior.
okay with that.
He was okay with
This
it.
probably crossed
There it
the
is. It's up on the YouTube chat for those of you
screenshot if you want.
on YouTube right now.
Now, I will say...
318 Friends of the Feather are there, including Tommy Summers.
Oh, really?
I will say that, and you probably don't know this, Ballsy, but Rafe Williams from the Riz Show just started a new podcast for the Riz Show called Take Two, where he does a podcast from a toilet.
Oh, like recreational?
Yeah.
Doug.
So, like,
You have
we're
a
on the
problem
same.
with
Yeah, we're on the same wavelength. I mean, in their room in one studio for two toilet
Probably
humor
not.
podcasts.
Probably not.
Now, Tommy, has to decide which one is going to be more profitable: the one on HD1,
Well, why does it have to be in the
or the one on
toilet?
HD2?
Why the toilet?
I thought.
Well, he does guests, and I'll say at 8:53, his last guest was Learn.
Oh, Doug.
Both sitting on toilets talking over topics. So
I gotta say,
Gosh,
I think Tales from the Tank Lid is a much better title.
Uh-oh, Radio Wars again.
I'm willing to sell it to Rafe if he would like. Take Two is kind of too short.
Pretty
I
sure
know
it's the number 2 show.
Well, yeah.
No, that's the name of the show.
Oh, okay,
It's the
I
number
got you.
2
I
show.
got you.
Oh, that's a Take Two. I know there's a 2 in there for Deuce, but
Again, still, even with that revision, Tale from the Tank Lid sounds better.
But how would you do that? Reverse cowgirl. You'd have to put that thing on the lid right at you. You wouldn't even know you're on the toilet.
I
No,
think he's asking the right questions.
this is the thing. Overhead cam.
Oh, a drone.
much would that cost,
Drone from
Hubbard?
Dogtown Ty.
So it would just be a picture of the top of your head?
No, like we would have to have a side cam and an overhead cam, I think.
So it wouldn't cost the station any money. Well, somebody's going to have to...
Well, we would have
film that.
camera that we'd have to, like, command strip in place. I didn't say logistically that I was high. I was 9 o'clock making peanut butter cookies. I'm not saying this thing is
when you're
buttoned
high,
up.
put the phone down.
It's certainly not a buttoned up idea, but I think there's bones that like that raw.
It's got good bones. You're saying.
There.
I think Renters Roundtable is a better shot at getting off the ground.
Yeah, probably. There's a little bit more of a foundation with that one.
KG in O-Town says he envisions a multi-camera shoot.
I still think it's a great idea because it would just be after he cooks the food, he just presents it to me.
What bathroom are you going to use?
I guess his, if he doesn't mind.
Well, probably if it's just in an apartment or a house, it's probably a small bathroom.
I think that makes it more intimate. Like,
are you going to pay him to do that? 'Cause it
more
doesn't work.
intimate.
I'm hoping, and no money comes out of my pocket for this. That's the goal. Because if it does, then it's starting to become a bad idea.
It's hard to believe that, quote, super sick idea was the high point of that text. It's like Tim and Doug are operating a no-kill moron shelter.
Oh.
Doug, are we opening a no-kill moron shelter? Doug, that's from Arbor Day.
We're not two like old
no-kill
dogs with heartworm. I mean,
string you
we're human
alive,
beings.
string you along, try to keep you alive until a nice peaceful death comes along.
Plowsy is more than welcome to come eat on my toilet. That is from KG in O-Town, so it sounds like you can shoot it there if you'd like.
I just think it sounds
like
fun.
the most disgusting thing I've ever heard, eating on someone else's toilet. Does it get any worse than that?
Interviewing somebody on somebody else's
I don't
toilet?
think people are going to want to see you in a toilet.
Have you watched the interview with Learn, Iggy?
Some of it. She was talking about her cats.
Well, I got to say, I think I'm about to take the lead on this one. If we're talking cats,
you can go more
I could
serious.
just- prime rib?
Well, and they film it themselves. They don't need anybody to help them.
Well, I'm not doing any more work or any more money. Like,
You just set up a phone and go.
I'm what I like to call talent, Doug.
Yes, you are.
Can we get a promo for this toilet show and run it constantly in breaks, even though the show doesn't actually air? That's from Clevie Wade.
Good point.
I have not played it today, the Pepper and Genie.
Was Clevie Wade, was he the cricket player or was he the union boss?
Cricket player from Bermuda.
That's right.
Ottawa
The union
Simmons
boss was
Oddie Simmons.
Oddie Simmons, who we had on air.
From the overhead view, would we be able to see any brown tarlet snakes sneak into the bowl while he's sitting reverse cowgirl? Doug, that's from Deke Totem.
See, the thing with that is it could advance, but they're going to need some advertising dollars attached to
Not
that.
going to advance.
I'm not going to go swimming with sharks and eating a prime,
God, can you imagine if you're Tommy Mattern
Oh.
on a Sunday night? You're sitting there with your wife and 2 children, and the phone buzzes, and you look over.
That's the idea. I want to do a show sitting on the toilet.
They probably just started talking about, oh man, it's Sunday night. I do not want to go to work tomorrow. Let's enjoy this last little bit of time.
Is it going to be
together."
awkward for you now the next time you see Tommy in the halls? Is that gonna be
Knowing
awkward?
Tommy, I would assume not. But after seeing the canceled, and he left me on red.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I may have
Doug,
to
this
bend
show's
that.
having a real issue with text responses.
Yeah, we are. Put down the phones, fellas.
Eating on toilets is considered a delicacy in Warson Woods. Thanks, that's Mr. Licks.
I don't know what it is.
Knock, knock, may I join you as the open as Plowsy enters my bathroom and sits reverse cowgirl on the tarlet to a plate of delicious fixins. That's from KG in O-Town. Sounds like he's starting to visualize this project. Well, it's all coming together, Doug.
There has to be something else you can do besides bathroom toilet humor.
Well, that's the thing. I'm kind of hoping to play pickleball with Tommy. You know, I bounce an idea, he gets one back, whoa, and then we start. But again, it's 9 o'clock on a Sunday.
I would like to do one like Gilstrap does. Once a week, I want to walk down the hall with
Who's Gilstrap?
somebody walking by me and somebody in the conference room filming secretly. And as I walk by, and watch
Don't
the
make
reaction.
that sound. Don't make the sound.
There is high dollars for fake farting.
I
don't
Casey,
know.
Somewhere.
Casey walking out the WL
Look,
studio.
Doug, I'll tell you what this is. This isn't a no-kill moron shelter.
Right.
We're in the midst of a think tank.
Yeah, Casey
Just
walks-
ideas flying
It's
everywhere.
almost like Shark Tank, what you
One
watch
more
on.
brilliant than the next. Eyebrow stuff.
Maybe Jackson or Plowsy's in the conference room with the
Jackson,
door
you want
just
in on
a
this?
crack.
Hell no.
Wow.
Just a crack, and I walk by Casey. And, morning,
Don't make
Casey.
the noise. Don't do
I don't
that.
think Jackson likes the fart humor as much.
And then you
as-
see her reaction like,
No. I'm into reverse tanklet stuff. That's hot. I'm into it.
come on.
I love the idea.
I didn't think about the
I
camera.
love the genesis of the idea. I think we work out some of the kinks.
Nice.
but I think your head's in the right place.
No, you're trying to appeal to a large audience, right? That won't cut it. That won't get it.
Logistically, I have some issues with how one will film yourself reverse tank lid because unless you guys have a different setup, most toilets are against the wall.
Yeah, that was my point. You would have to like put it right in your face.
Yeah, you don't really have like a toilet.
What about sitting side saddle?
Well, now we're not reverse cowgirl in the tank.
You've already blown up your idea.
Yeah.
Maybe the
You have to,
toilet
like-
doesn't have to be attached. It's a non-working toilet.
Ooh, get a
Now
hardware
costs are
store.
associated.
Get a
The
hardware
costs have
store
been
involved, Doug.
associated.
I like where you're at.
Right.
Home
Hard
Depot.
cost.
All I'll say is Gil Strap's videos get like 5 million views for him walking by farting at people.
But isn't there a tank lid eating? I mean, is there even a market? I could be first in line on that.
Cletus texted me to say he thinks it's brilliant, so you might have an investor.
But that's the thing of like thinking about it now is like what advertiser would possibly want to put like a banner
None.
underneath?
Probably
I
none.
talked to the Taylors at Enterprise. Start there.
Yeah.
I was thinking Centene, but like God, they're so booked right now.
You better
need
call the
props.
toilet people. Call
would need
Kohler and
props, like
places that actually make the toilets.
Plumbing, ooh, yeah.
Like Cletus, you could maybe do one where you pull your pants down, you got a garter on, a
garter,
whatever he wears,
Ooh,
garter
actually,
belt or whatever. he
What's
wears.
happened to this show?
Iggy gives me a great idea. Like you bring like a lunch pail, like out to like one of his job sites, and he has like an abandoned toilet, and I just have my lunch there. That could be one.
Oh, I like this. I like where this is going.
Yeah.
I'm confused.
We needed to kill time up until Gabe, and I think we did a great job of that.
November 11th at St. Gabriel's, Doug, we'll all be gathered for the trivia night. Yeah, and they weren't dividers last year. I've been told that's been tended to. Sign up, tmastl.com. $45, your Saturday night's taken care of. You might not even be interested in the trivia. Fine. Enjoy the salt and smoke and all of your AB products. Plus, you can bring your own food and drink as well. Portion of the proceeds going to St. Gabriel the Archangel Grade School. Purchase at tmastl.com. It is Saturday, November 11th. Doors open at 6:30. Trivia at 7 p.m. TMA Trivia Night. Sign up at tmastl.com. Design Air Heating and Cooling email today, 9:45. Balloon Party, 10 o'clock. Jeremy Rutherford, 10:45. But in a matter of moments, it's time to talk it over with the Colonel, presented to you by James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. Doug, we're 12 days away from the biggest damn road game for the Missouri Tigers in the last 40, 50, I don't know, years. In November.
You gonna go?
I've actually thought of it. I just can't. It's if I were back in the day of no children, we absolutely would go.
We should probably do our show from Athens like Thursday and Friday.
We should. I bet they'd set us up right at the 50 between the
I don't
hedges.
think they would.
To have us there?
No.
Like that'd be like Pat McAfee.
Oh yeah, like dude, they would highlight us on College Game Day.
I agree with
They
that.
wouldn't.
It'd probably be the picks.
Yeah,
Guest
you go out
pick.
there with a muscle shirt on, like McAfee always does. Stand
Like
in the
who
end
does?
zone with two. McAfee stands in the end
Oh.
zone with a muscle shirt on and two other guys that I don't know who they are. They're not funny.
Pat McAfee taking shrapnel.
Everyone's taking a shot.
Guys, here are Dumb and Dumber's two big ideas over the last couple of weeks. Number one, run a fake punt on 4th and 40 from your own 5.
Yeah, it worked, didn't it, idiot?
It didn't work because they didn't do
The
it.
next week they did do it, and it worked for a touchdown. How about that?
But it wasn't. They weren't at their own 5, and it wasn't 4th down and
Different
32.
scenario, but I like it.
Yeah, well, let's go for it on 4th and 48. That'll work.
Number two, text your boss a podcast idea at 9 o'clock on a Sunday about you taking a dump.
He probably showed that to all the family members and said, "Am I reading this right? Does that say what I think it says?"
The more you think about it, bothering Tommy on a Sunday at 9 o'clock with that may be the worst thing I've ever heard.
Wow, that's coming from Ken Strode.
Well, again,
You're
after
my boy, Plaza. I'm thinking about it. If I texted, Tommy, got a great idea. I'm going to sit on a toilet seat backwards and eat. What do you think?
well, I did say it wouldn't
Doug, they're going to
cost
smoke us out of our
anymore.
holes.
Yeah.
Like I said, when he left me unread and I came in this morning and saw the canceled, I was like, oh man, we are in it.
The Colonel will join us on the other side of the break, brought to you by James Carlton. This is TMA from the Michelob Ultra Studios. Hey, this is Tim McKernan, and I am here with James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. And James, I love getting emails from listeners who support the sponsors of TMA and the Balloon Party, and they have great experiences with clients. And I got one last week from a client of yours who switched, and you immediately saved him $1,000, and it meant the world to him.
Well, obviously, those are situations we enjoy as well, because there's really not a whole lot of salesmanship going on when you save somebody $1,000. But the area that we're really having an impact on people's finances are people with drivers under the age of 25. Having young or teenage drivers can cause some sticker shock, as we all know, but we're seeing material savings for these types of clients, hundreds, if not even thousands of dollars per year, like Tim just referenced. If you're hearing this and you have any drivers in your home that are under 25, we'd love an opportunity to see just how much we can save you.
I can vouch for it. I see the way they save money for me. They can do the same for you at James Carlton. Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency, 314-961-4800, or go online at carltoninsurance.net.
Rosalitas know that a fun happy hour and scenic patio go together like fresh guac and chips. So take advantage of their covered patio this fall and winter at their De Pere location and enjoy happy hour specials Monday through Friday from 3 to 6. Their sparkling margarita is made with Chambord raspberry liqueur and topped with a bottle of Rosé Prosecco. They also have a variety of delicious margarita flavors, including mango, pomegranate, and blood orange, all made with top-shelf tequila and Cointreau. With phenomenal service, great margaritas, and a breathtaking atmosphere, there's always a reason to come to Rosalitas.
Hey, this is Tim McKernan, and I am here with a great TMA sponsor, and that is Longo Biggs Injury Law Firm. And you may hear a bunch of out-of-state law firms advertising here and there all over on billboards and so on and so forth. But the thing is, oftentimes their goal is to just settle and move on. And that's not what you guys do.
Yeah, this is CD Longo, and you hear us talking a lot about maximizing the value of cases, but what does that actually mean? Well, as Tim said, there's lots of personal injury lawyers in St. Louis, and everyone handles cases differently. We focus on getting the highest dollar amount for your injuries, not just getting a resolution quickly. We're constantly tracking all the settlements and verdicts in the area. This helps us advise our clients on whether a settlement offer is too low. And if the amount of compensation being offered is too low, we are happy to file lawsuits and proceed to trial to ensure our clients receive an amount that is fair. Visit our website or Google us at Longo Biggs Injury Law.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
When we think of a real estate agent, we think of somebody simply selling our home or finding us a new one. I mean, they're all the same, right?
Okay, here's the comps. We'll take some pics, we'll post them, and I'll get back to you, okay?
A home is life-changing, and your real estate agent should reflect that. Honesty, integrity, and someone who will go above and beyond to make your dreams come true.
The Jeff Lotman Group with Compass Realty. We're different because you're different. We want what you want. Experience the difference today at jefflotman.com, bringing people and properties together.
If you're sick of having slow internet that doesn't reach every nook and cranny of your house, I'm here to introduce Whisper, the rural internet provider with no hidden fees, no contracts, and high speeds, all for a low cost. Whisper offers first-class customer service that'll help you set up and answer any questions along the way. And Whisper is offering free installation now till the end of October. Call Whisper at 800-765-7772 to learn more and use promo code TMA to get free installation. That's 800-765-7772 with promo code TMA.
I'm Tim McKernan here with Action Jackson talking to you about Mark Hanna. TMA listeners have a lot to think through financially, whether it be saving up for their child's education or planning for their own retirement and everything in between.
Whether you're like me and just getting started with your financial planning or you're already retired, call Mark Hanna.
It all starts with a 15-minute phone call to discuss your needs and design the right strategy for you and your future.
Visit evergreenstl.com or give Mark a call at 314-889-0503 today. Mark Hanna offers securities through Equitable Advisors and insurance and annuity products through Equitable Network, LLC.
The Illinois Recovery Center is dedicated to providing precise and authentic care to those seeking help and treatment. Whether you've made the life-saving choice to seek help on your own or you want to be prepared for the other end of an addiction intervention with a loved one, the chance to learn about addiction recovery is available to you at the Illinois Recovery Center in Swansea. If you or someone you know wants more information about the Illinois Recovery Center, please call 888-472-9559 or email info@illinoisrecoverycenter.com.
Here's Action Jackson with 3 more ways to get TMA content.
Get the TMA mobile app and enable notifications so you don't miss a thing. See our content on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. And stream us on the TMA mobile app and at TMASTL.com.
Thanks, Jackson. It's the morning after on 105.7 FM HD2.
Hey, this is Joe Buck. We all have people we miss and who we would do anything to see or hear again. Whenever I want to hear my dad's voice, all I have to do is go to YouTube, but most people don't have that luxury. Now with Sound Story, your family's stories can be saved forever. Sound Story is a professionally produced hour-long conversation in which you or one of your loved ones is interviewed by the host of your choice, including TMA's own Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, and Jackson Burkett. Hundreds of St. Louisans have already told their stories with Sound Story, and the experience is one they loved.
I think everybody that can do it, they should, for their children, for their grandchildren, because I know I would give anything to hear my parents' voice.
Visit mysoundstory.com today and use promo code TMA for 10% off your Sound Story gift certificate purchase. That's mysoundstory.com, promo code TMA for 10% off your Sound Story gift certificate purchase. Sound Story, for you, for them, forever.
TMA presents their second ever trivia night, November 11th at Tim's alma mater, St. Gabe's, starting at 7:30 p.m. A little different than last year. Not just TMA trivia, all trivia, sports, entertainment, STL-centric, and a few rounds of TMA trivia thrown in for good measure. And it's hosted by Tim, Doug, Iggy, Plowsy, Action Jackson, and whoever else is on the show. You can purchase single tickets, tables of 8, or anything in between. Tickets are on sale now and are $45 a person. A portion of the proceeds from the event will go to St. Gabe's. Tickets include food from Salt and Smoke and all your Anheuser-Busch beer. But feel free to bring your own food and drink too. Another TMA Trivia Night, November 11th. Get more info and find out how to buy tickets at TMASTL.com. Live from the Michelob Ultra Studios, KPNT-FM HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. This is TMA All Day.
I'm gay. Now.
It's the morning after.
KPNT-FM HD2.
Collinsville, St. Louis.
Doug, what is this going to sound like when they're playing it between the hedges on November 4th?
I'm sure it's intimidating.
This needs to be the new third down song. Like
instead of Timmy Trumpet?
Yeah.
Could you imagine that just optimate
Place to go crazy.
This is not the song, not the music you want to hear if you're a Mizzou opponent.
Here's what they need to play right here. This little segment.
Yep.
They should have played this during Shane Beamer's postgame.
Yeah.
Just blasted this.
He would have been too. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to TMA. We're in the Michelob Ultra Studio. Some people are calling it a no-kill moron shelter. Michelob Ultra no-kill moron shelter.
It's not bad, really, as a title.
My name is Timothy Michael McKernan. That's Douglas Elvin Vaughn. Across from me is the Plowhawk in the Horton Watkins Studios is Jackson Burkett. And now replacing Ken Strode is James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. Online at carltoninsurance.net. He's my insurance agent, Doug, and his number is 314-961-4800. Hello, James.
Good morning.
Hello, James.
7-1 Tigers.
Fight!
You're feeling pretty good about that.
I'm feeling great.
Did you go to the game?
No, I had to give them away last minute, but somebody got to use them. I'm glad to see that.
Oh, that's good.
There you go.
You watched it, I hope.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Maybe twice now. I'm just.
Is the Colonel with us?
Yeah, he's ready to roll.
Yes! Good morning, Colonel.
What's up, guys? James, I just want to say, giving away tickets to the game at the last minute is the most McKernan move ever. I know why you guys are.
You would assume that I would actually have the tickets in the first place to continue my ruse.
Fair. Yeah, sorry guys. Got a hangnail. Can't make it this weekend. But
this game's out of line.
Gosh.
Tell him to stop, Doug. He's out of line. Colonel, I want to get your perspective on this. Opening thoughts. I feel like the first quarter against LSU, the final 3 quarters against Kentucky, and the first half against South Carolina combined some of the best football I've seen Missouri play in the last 23 years, going back to 2000, and therefore, obviously, that would take you back a number of years because it's not like the 80s and 90s were full of magic. I really do. But then at the same time, the third quarter against LSU, the first quarter against Kentucky, and in particular the third quarter on Saturday against South Carolina, those were really rough. The first quarter against Kentucky was really, really rough. So we've seen Missouri play at what I think is a top-tier college football level each of the last 3 games, but then at the same time, in those same games, we've seen them have some really off times as well. Do you see that, and what do you think attributes to these sudden changes?
I think it's sports, especially college sports. I mean, Eli Drinkwitz last week, I asked him, before the South Carolina game, what's it say that you're 6-1? And I think you would agree you haven't played a complete game. And he said, I would agree, but he said, that's really hard to do. I've seen 2 or 3 of those in my coaching career. I mean, and you guys might laugh at this, but I say this all the time. I think video games have ruined sports fandom.
Oh, wow.
Because fans look at it and go, well, just run the halfback toss pass. I did that 27 straight times, and it always worked. I took, the University of Eastern Florida Technical College, and I won 7 straight national titles. Like, you can win video games 73-6. You're good on every possession on both sides of the ball. That doesn't happen in sports very often. I mean, I cheer for an NFL team that it literally pretty much every regular season game for 3 or 4 years. But me and my friends watch and go, well, they were really good for like 12 minutes, and then what happened? Oh, by the way, they win 80% of their games. So I think good teams are able to, most teams in a 13, 14 game season, I feel like are going to play their best game or close to it maybe twice. I mean, Georgia's done it one time this year.
Yeah, that's true.
And they won that game by 38 points. But really good teams are able to win with B and C efforts because the truth is you usually are going to get B and C efforts. You're not going to have everybody playing well start to finish on both sides of the football. So I think it's a good sign for Missouri that they've really played about 5.5 quarters in the last 2 weeks, and they have outscored 2 teams that are supposed to be their peers. I mean, we start the season saying if Missouri can just finish ahead of South Carolina and Kentucky, they've probably had a pretty good year. They've beaten those teams by a combined 72-33, and there was no point. That game was over at 24-0.
Yeah.
There was no point where South Carolina was any threat to win the game. And as much as you'd like to then win 48-0, like winning 24-9 would have been fine.
Yeah, I mean, take a look at what happened with North Carolina this weekend. Washington had their problems with Arizona State. Oklahoma had their problems with Central Florida. Alabama, the previous week, had problems with Arkansas. It's tough to stay up every single week and perform and fire on all cylinders.
If you do that, you know what you are? You're 1995 Nebraska. People are talking about you as the best college football team of all time.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen very often at all. And, the goal is to be good enough that you don't have to play an A game every week, right? You give yourself a little bit of a margin for error.
One of the most encouraging things, I think, along these lines, is that some of the biggest problems they've had in recent games were mental problems. A bad snap from the center, roughing the passer right at the end of the first half last week. It's not like they've run into anybody that's just physically dominant over them.
Yeah, here's what Missouri has shown me over the first 7 weeks of this season. They should not go into they have no reason to go into any game, afraid, fearing the other team. They can play, if they play their best game, they can play with just about anybody in the country. Now, in 2 weeks, if they go to Athens and Georgia plays an A game, Georgia will beat them. But they will beat, I think, everybody in college football if they play an A game. But if Missouri goes down and plays an A game at Georgia, there's no reason to think that Missouri can't be competitive in that game.
Gabe, good morning. And what gives me the most confidence, obviously, South Carolina, I think, started 3 true freshmen on the offensive line. So I'm not surprised to see the defensive line just feast on Saturday. Yeah. But what did surprise me, or impress me, I should say, the offensive line just continues to get better. And their biggest Achilles heel, kind of like Doug alluded to, was penalties. But I guess Eli brought in some officials for the practice, and that solved all the issues because they had, I think, 1 penalty on Saturday.
Yeah, that's what he said. He was asked, what have you done differently? He said, we brought reps into practice, and they called penalties on guys during practice. And hey, if that's what's fixed it, great. But the line has blocked well all year. It's just been, like you said, those penalties that have hurt them. Defensively, I looked it up this morning, and I was surprised. Missouri is actually allowing slightly fewer yards per play this year than it did last year on defense. Now, they're allowing more points, I think, is the reason that people think this defense isn't good. But I think right now this defense is pretty similar to last year's. The buzzword on Saturday, there were 2 or 3 questions. Your defense just looked to play with more intensity. Well, I just think they played better. I mean, they were active, they were flying around, but I don't know if it was because, they were more hyped up or anything like that. They played 7 really good quarters. Their last 20 drives, they've given up a total of 19 points, which is obviously really impressive. First game in 3 years, they didn't allow a touchdown. My only question now is, okay, you've done that against 2 one-dimensional teams. I mean, honestly, kind of credit to South Carolina for being able to move forward at all on offense with that offensive line.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do that. That is a non-functional offensive line. And I don't mean to take credit away from Missouri for what they've done the last 2 weeks, but they haven't done it against a complete team yet. The next 3 games they play will be 3 of the 4 best offenses they face all year, and so that's the big test defensively.
Colonel, brought to you by James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. I know we'll spend plenty of time talking on 101 ESPN on Friday about it, and certainly next week as well. But this week, with the equity that Missouri has with the record, with the ranking, and the anticipation that, barring an injury in practice or something like that, cannot be ruined until November 4th when you get a chance to play Georgia, sets up for one hell of a chance for Missouri really to capture not just the state of Missouri and sports fans in the state of Missouri, but also college football with both the trend and the equity that it has for its performance on the field, but also recruiting-wise. So you're leading into what is, I think, the biggest road game for Missouri, true road game, not neutral site at Arrowhead, in perhaps our lifetime, as far as 2 teams competing for a championship still, and then also the recruiting undercurrent, which can lay a foundation on top of the one that is being built in 2023. What can you tell us about what is on the table this week, Colonel?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to, I imagine that Cody Schrader, Luther Burden, guys like that will not take a practice rep till probably about Friday. Eli wouldn't even talk about Georgia. He just talked about how excited they were to have a week off. And, you get some rest, and then you still get 2 or 3 extra days to work on Georgia while Georgia plays next Saturday in, a rivalry game against Florida that, hey, some weird things happen in that game. I think it actually may be better for Missouri if Georgia wins that game.
I agree.
And it all leads up to, everything about Saturday reminded me of going to games from like 2006 to 2014. I texted my wife from the middle of the drive over because I was in bumper-to-bumper traffic. I said, now I remember why I used to leave the house 3 hours early rather than an hour and a half or 2 hours early, because it takes that long to get over there and get set up and everything, and it hadn't been that way for a while. This is the game that you come to an SEC school to play, right? You have put yourself in position. I haven't checked the rest of the schedule. I know Alabama, LSU play, but all next week, Missouri is playing in one of, 2 to 4 football games that are going to be talked about on every college football show in the country and all that. I think this would be a good week to get Eli Drinkwitz on some of these national shows that have a bigger audience than, say, Power Mizzou does, and get him some exposure. If you can get Brady Cook out there a little bit, if you can maybe get Cody Schrader out there a little bit, because those 2 guys have 2 of the best stories that you're going to find in college football. I think they can do all that. And then, oh, by the way, even without a game, Wednesday has a chance to be a pretty big day for Missouri football.
And that is the day Ryan Wingo is announcing at St. Louis U High.
Yeah.
Schrader's story is really remarkable to me, and I guess the coaching staff gets some credit for looking at a guy, giving a walk-on a chance like that. He doesn't really look the part. And, it's one thing, I suppose, to recruit a 5-star kid out of high school. It's another to admit that there might be a diamond in the rough here that everybody missed and actually give him a shot. And they did.
I mean, it's what made Gary Pinkel what he was, right, is that he saw something in guys like Denario Alexander and Sean Weatherspoon. And now those guys were obviously not anybody saw Cody Schrader doing this, except maybe Cody Schrader, to be quite honest. 2,000 yards at Truman State, great accomplishment, but it's Truman State. They're playing in the Great Lakes Valley Conference or something like that. And so really up until about 3 or 4 weeks ago, even I kind of watched games and thought, good for him. It's a nice story, but I just don't know that you can win important things in the SEC if that's your starting running back. And he just keeps doing it every week, and he has put all that talk to bed. I appreciated after the game on Saturday, he said, it's the first time I've ever heard him say anything like this. He said, I belong in this conference, and I belong as one of the best running backs in the country. And he didn't say it in an arrogant way, but it's the closest he's ever come to, lacking any ounce of humility.
You think he gets a shot in the NFL?
That's pretty tough to see. I mean, maybe, but there are a lot of guys that have run for 1,500 yards in college that they're really good college football players. And that's great. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all, but if Cody's going to play in the NFL, he's probably going to have to make a mark covering kicks and punts and hope to maybe get a shot as like the third or fourth running back on a team.
Plowhawk, you have a question for the Colonel.
Yeah, I did, and this is kind of looking in the future, but obviously you want to keep this momentum for the next few years to become a powerhouse. Now, the recruiting has been excellent. Obviously Ryan Wingo potentially coming, and then the domino effect after that. But do you worry about when Brady Cook leaves about Drink being able to recruit a highly touted quarterback? We don't know what the Horn situation is. He going to transfer? Is he going to focus on baseball? And also the offensive line situation. I know that's very early on, but is there a guy they're looking at? Are they looking in the transfer portal for a guy to eventually replace Brady Cook? Because I don't know if Horn is the answer to that, and I know you kind of want to keep the train going once he leaves.
Yeah, I mean, they've got another 4-star kid on the roster, freshman Jabari Johnson from Washington State. They've got a kid out of Tennessee they really like. His name's Aiden Glover, who's committed for next year. I'm sure this year or next year, especially if Sam Horn and or Jake Garcia leave, that they might look at the portal. But that's college football now. Yeah. I mean, guys don't sit around to be backup quarterbacks. And so if guys aren't winning a job, they're leaving, and you better go find another one. I mean, if you look across college football, Michael Penix is a transfer. Caleb Williams is a transfer. Sam Hartman at Notre Dame is a transfer. A lot of these guys are not at the schools they started at. And it all kind of started with Joe Burrow. So that's just the game. And, I know that next year in the future, everybody is concerned about, but Missouri fans should not miss this season, worried about 2024 and 2026 and whatever. And I'm not trying to, I get the question, but I think that Missouri fans should enjoy the hell out of the next 4 weeks because, this hadn't happened in a while.
I bet they recruit hard this week, being 7-1, and their name is hot.
Yeah. And what should be good news on Wednesday. You don't know until it's there. But
and if it does become good news on Wednesday, I would think a transfer quarterback, which they shouldn't need next year, but would want to be a part of that wide receiver room. That would be attractive.
Yeah, I mean, they will. And look, the St. Louis thing, it is the start of what we have talked about literally since I've had this job. What if Missouri could keep most of these guys home? I mean, if you've got Winery, if you hang on to him, if you get Wingo, there will be some ripple effects on that in the transfer portal, maybe even in the high school ranks. These St. Louis guys all know each other. They all follow each other. They all keep up with each other. There could be some reunions of maybe wanting to play together again. And then, good players want to play with other good players, so it kind of starts to snowball.
Colonel, you wrote in your 10 thoughts on a Monday morning, one of my favorite columns to read, by the way, on PowerMizzou.com, the scenario for Missouri in the college football playoff. I'm sure some people hear that and they just roll their eyes because that's what people do when they think of Missouri football, especially if they didn't go to school there, and maybe even those that did go to school there roll their eyes even more. But it is in play. I think even somebody who hates Missouri would have to acknowledge that So the question then becomes, does Missouri really control its own destiny? And I would say with 95% set of scenarios, they do, but there certainly are scenarios in which they wouldn't. And by that I mean if Missouri won out, beat Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, Arkansas, and then Alabama, LSU, or Ole Miss in the SEC championship game, but you have a really unique situation with a deep Pac-12, but there's going to be cannibalization over the next month with Pac-12. Got to think Ohio State or Michigan is in no matter what, especially looking at their schedules. I suppose Penn State could theoretically get in there. Florida State's the one to keep an eye on. Oklahoma, Texas in the Big 12. So how do you see this thing playing out as far as Missouri controlling its own destiny?
Yeah, so first I wrote this morning, that Missouri realistically is ranked probably about where it should be because they don't have one of those, true, difference-making wins. They beat Kentucky and K-State, and those are solid wins, but most of the one-loss or zero-loss teams above them have beaten, somebody in the top 20, and Missouri hasn't done that yet, so that's certainly a thing. We understand there are a million things that have to happen before this is a conversation that matters, right? First of all, Missouri has to win 5 more football games because if they lose one more, all of that is out the window.
100%.
So people say that there's zero chance an SEC champion with one loss is left out of the playoff. There is a small chance. It is not zero. And the way it happens, Florida State has to go unbeaten and win the ACC. They're the only team that can still do that. Oklahoma probably has to go unbeaten and win the Big 12 because if Texas wins the Big 12, they're 12-1. They've beaten, Alabama and Oklahoma. Really haven't beaten anybody else. Missouri would have at that point beaten, Alabama and Georgia in all likelihood, and Tennessee probably would be a better win than anything Texas had done. You're going to get one Big Ten team in. I don't think you get 2 just because the rest of the Big Ten is just so bad. Whether it's Ohio State or Michigan, the only thing those 2 teams are really going to be able to claim is a win over the other one and then a win over Penn State. There's not a lot else there.
Ohio State I have Notre Dame.
Yeah, Ohio State did beat Notre Dame. The Pac-12 is where this thing gets weird because I think it's the best conference in the country. I think up until last week, Washington had looked like the best team. Oregon lost at Washington by a field goal, but these teams are all playing each other. Utah only has 1 loss. Oregon State, people don't know, only has 1 loss. USC has 2 losses. They're not playing in the playoff, but they're good enough to beat teams that have playoff hopes, but the scenario there is what if Oregon runs the table and beats Washington in the title game and they're both 12-1? Is a Pac-12 runner-up getting in over an SEC champion? I hope we're talking about this in a month. It's nothing but random speculation because we do this every year. About week 8, the playoff rankings come out, and we start saying, well, this team's going to do this, and then they play games and it all blows up, right? There's some weekend where you go, oh, hey, 4 of the top 9 teams just lost. So I think it all works itself out. If Missouri runs the table, like you said, I would imagine there's a 90 to 95% chance they're in. But again, all the things we're talking about, none of them matter if Missouri doesn't run the table. You go, 3-1 the rest of the way, heck of a season, but we're not talking about playoff.
Right. The facts is, and I saw you, the facts are, I should say, you laid this out yesterday. Missouri is eliminated with a loss against Georgia, period. They cannot win the SEC East. Right. Meanwhile, Missouri would still have work to do, legitimate work to do, as you wrote, Gabe. It becomes the biggest game since, 2014 against Alabama, I would argue, I suppose, as far as a big game goes. And then Tennessee becomes the next biggest game just like that because you got to win that to keep the momentum going and also keep yourself most likely alive. You have to win out. Just period. That's all there is to it.
And it's the same way as 07, 13, and 14 where 07, Missouri loses to Oklahoma. They're, I think, 6-1 at that point. They had to win the last 5 games or they're not playing in the Big 12 title game. The Kansas game wouldn't have mattered. It would have, but, it wouldn't have been what it was had Missouri not gone 4-0 leading up to it. They lose to South Carolina in 2013. If they don't run the table, South Carolina's playing in the title game, and there were actually a couple of weeks there where Missouri didn't control its own destiny, where they needed South Carolina to pick up another loss or two. Same thing happened in 2014, and I don't remember who the runner-up would have been in that year.
Georgia, because Georgia beat Missouri that year.
Yeah, badly. I think that was maybe the 34-0
Shut them out,
game.
Nick Chubb season.
You know, and so they then had to run the table, or they're not even playing Alabama in that game. And same situation here. Even if you go beat Georgia, you are then tied with Georgia. Now, you have the tiebreaker, but you're going to have to go beat Florida, Tennessee, or Arkansas because I think everybody can see Georgia maybe tripping up once. I don't think anybody sees Georgia losing 2 of its last 3 SEC.
Right. They host Ole Miss, and they have to travel to Knoxville, for the record, is what their schedule looks like, and then a non-conference game against Georgia Tech. It's amusing to me that ESPN.com lays out the scenarios for the teams who can make the college football playoff this morning in a column, and they include Oregon State, and they include Utah, and they even include LSU. And by the way, I think they should include LSU. But they do not. They do. You do not. You do not think LSU can get in?
There are too many teams that are going to finish with 0 loss or 1 loss, and what that committee has proven over the last 2 years, by TCU getting in with a loss, with only 1 loss, and by Cincinnati getting in, is they still put more stock in the record than who the record was compiled against. I just don't see LSU even at 11-2 getting in when you're going to have at least one team from every other league that has no more than 1 loss.
Yeah, I suppose if they were to beat Alabama and beat Georgia in the SEC championship game, I agree. A lot of things would have to happen, kind of like LSU in 2007.
I just don't think they'd get in.
Right. I just think as far as a value Hail Mary play, they would be in there. Point being, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Florida State, Michigan, Georgia, Alabama, Texas, Washington. Now you get into the teams with losses. Penn State, Oregon, LSU with 2, Ole Miss, Oregon State, and Utah are all listed as how these teams get to the national championship game, or the CFP, not even the game. And Missouri is not listed. So that is, neither is North Carolina, but I would say North Carolina's loss on Saturday does make them irrelevant. You can't lose to Virginia and then still be in the mix.
Right. Same with Louisville. The 1 loss is to Pitt.
Right.
There are 16 teams with 0 or 1 losses that play Power 5 football. I discount North Carolina and I discount Louisville for the reasons we just talked about. Yeah. Everybody else is alive. Like, to write that story and not include Missouri in it is simply like it's poor work.
Yeah. But it's because it's Missouri. It's not because there's an agenda. It's just that's the perception of Missouri, and I'm sure they're looking at, they're not going to win at Georgia. By the way, Colonel, you know I enjoy arbitrary percentages that have absolutely no value. I've been communicating with some Georgia fans. One Georgia fan said 20% chance Missouri wins in Athens. Another one said 30%. What is your percentage?
20-ish, right? I think that's probably fair because, again, what you have to rely on above everything else, what you have to rely on is that Georgia is a little less than their best.
Right.
You know, and it's why, again, I think if Georgia loses to Florida this week, that removes Georgia's margin for error, and you get super angry Georgia in Athens in 2 weeks. And that is not a good recipe. You know, now I think Georgia's already going to be up for Missouri because of last year's game. You know, I think Kirby's going to convince them that everybody thinks Missouri actually beat them last year. And so I think they'll get a good effort from Georgia. But I think if Georgia beats Florida, there's at least a little bit more of a chance that they take their foot off the gas or make some mistakes than if they're coming in off a loss.
And then
And also, a Florida win would bring Florida back into this conversation in the East. And, you know, I'm just a believer that the fewer teams you have to worry about, the better.
And then conversely, I would think the Missouri locker room would have all the confidence in the world that they can hang in there. They proved that they could last year, and unfortunately just gave it away in the fourth quarter. But, I mean, I don't think anybody in that locker room should think, oh, gosh, we're going to get our clocks cleaned down there. They should have a lot of confidence heading to Georgia. And what timing? Georgia's they're going to beat the hell out of each other in Jacksonville against Florida. Mizzou's going to be watching it. An extra week to prepare. It could not line up any better for Mizzou to have a chance. I would say if Georgia was coming off a Vanderbilt game and playing Missouri just the following week, that's a different animal. But the fact that Mizzou's on a bye and Georgia's going to have a tough game against a big rival. I think it sets up really well for Mizzou. Not that I'm predicting them to win, but that they can compete.
Yeah, and that really go to the fourth quarter in Athens with the shot to win the game, right? Whether that means you've got a 10-point lead or you're down 10, have a shot in the fourth quarter. And I don't think any Missouri fan should ask for any more than that.
That is The Colonel, brought to you by James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. Every Monday here on TMA, every Friday on Balloon Party. And, of course, you can read him and his wonderful staff's work, especially this week with the Ryan Wingo announcement on PowerMizzou.com. Thank you, Colonel.
All right, guys. Appreciate it.
There he is.
All right, thanks, James.
Todd Reesing is not happy. Oh, welcome, James. Now you know you're kind of part of the show. James is such a homer. That's from Todd Reesing.
I mean, guilty as charged. I didn't hide that.
Like that's an insult or something. You like the school where you went.
James, you are heading to Athens.
I am. I'm so excited because my expectations are not super high. Speaking of being a homer, I'm not going down there thinking Mizzou's going to come out with a W. But if they do, the fact that I'll be there is pretty exciting. Unlike when we were in Atlanta, I expected Mizzou to possibly win that game. I gave them
the Auburn game, not the Alabama game. I was at
13.
both. And they absolutely did not deserve to be. I mean, as far as deserved, they deserved by the standings to be on the field with Alabama. There was a monster gap,
absolutely,
in Missouri versus Alabama.
Similar expectations.
There was not against Auburn. Mm-hmm. That was a great team. 2007 was a great team, but the 2008 thing against Oklahoma and the 2014 thing against Alabama, those are two different.
They did shut Trey Mason down.
That's the point that I'm trying to make.
Yeah, he had nothing.
Thank you.
So, when you don't set yourself up to be let down, I'm just going to enjoy a great atmosphere. The fact that we just talked about Mizzou's chances in the next 6 weeks to potentially be considered for the college football playoff, albeit a long shot, just exciting that we're actually having those conversations on October 23rd. I love it.
The thing that I want to seize, and I'll probably talk more about it on 101 here in about 20 minutes, is what I'm trying to drive home to Missouri fans in particular, but then I suppose casual fans were like, why do you guys talk about Missouri? Is that this is possible here. And
I've been driving that for a while.
That has been like the thing that is, I guess, I don't know. I mean, my personality, I assume, and just in general irritates people. But with Missouri fans, it's like, well, he's not happy with an 8 wins. It's not that I'm not happy. I don't like settling. It's just not how I'm programmed. I don't just want a paycheck, And I think that there is an opportunity at Missouri to have greatness. It's not expected, but you don't settle. And not too many programs over the last 16 years have been a win away from playing for a national championship game in December. And Missouri has been. And that doesn't mean that it's Alabama or Georgia. I realize the budgets are different. But I think the expectations when you have these moments prove that it is possible. And it has been, but here it is yet again. And now you are playing, most likely, I think, at 2:30 on CBS for the SEC East against a team that will probably be on a 24-game winning streak and will likely be talked about decades from now as a standard in college football, as in the Georgia 2020s teams, similar to the Alabama teens teams, the Nebraska 90s teams, the Florida State 90s teams, the 80s Miami teams. And you have that opportunity. They don't come around all that often. We're going back a decade to look back to the last time Missouri had a game of this kind of importance. And so there's nothing wrong with opening yourself up to being emotionally let down. And there's also nothing wrong with allowing yourself to be emotional and thinking about the possibility of an upset. But in order to accomplish, you have to visualize in the first place. You have to believe that something is possible. And then you set the path up to accomplish it. And nobody is going to be excited about January 1st. And you can say it's a January 1st bowl game. But the reality is the bowl game thing has lost its importance. It's about championships now. And you have a chance for a championship. You want respect. You don't want 11 a.m. kickoffs. Win games. This is a program-defining opportunity. Do I expect them to win? Of course I don't expect them to win, but do I think they could be one of the best teams in the country? I do. And that has nothing to do with the fact that I went there. If anything, more Missouri fans dislike me than like me. I just tell you what I think. And I think this team against LSU in the first quarter, Kentucky the final 3 quarters, and the first half against South Carolina played as well as anybody I've seen this year, including Georgia, who, if anything, I think the reason why Georgia fans are going, yeah, Missouri might beat us, is because they think Georgia might not be as good this year. And so they're a little worried, not necessarily about Missouri, but about Florida, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Missouri. So I think Missouri fans kind of reasoned away the fact that, we hung with LSU and there were expectations for LSU. So, hey, look at us go. F that. Missouri could have and should have beaten LSU. I mean, that's the way that it is. You might have to accept some hurt in order to say that, but that's the reality. Connor Towson makes that snap. I think Missouri does beat LSU. Now, it's not, I'm not putting it all on him, but the point is, it was there. And then you're talking about a top 10 team in November going into Georgia. So they've been a hell of a lot closer to being undefeated, actually, than losing. Their two closest losses actually would be K-State and Middle Tennessee, believe it or not. These other things really haven't been in doubt, which is, again, to their credit. So from that standpoint, I've been around this for a long time, and I haven't seen many of these, but I have seen them, and that means that the possibility is there. And so I don't go, if they win 8 games, it was a hell of a year. You got to seize opportunity when it presents itself, because it doesn't come around all the time. James, thank you so much.
Thanks,
as always, sir. There is the great James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency.
Love your insurance.
Yeah, I do too. That's why I'm a client. He's online at carltoninsurance.net. You know what I love almost as much as James Insurance? Jackson and your hair.
Oh. Yes, sir. Hair is feeling good, liking what we're seeing, and that's because I got a consultation from our friends over at St. Louis Hair Restoration. I went there, they took a look at my head, said, FUE or a hair transplant, probably not in the cards right now, but we're going to put you on this finasteride. Just take a little pill every morning, super easy, and then this laser cap, which helps strengthen that regrowth, rushes the blood to your head, trying to get some of that regrowth going. It takes about 6 minutes a night. I wear the thing, forget it's on sometimes even. So easy to do, and it's all because I got a consultation over at St. Louis Hair Restoration. Now they looked at Doug's head and said, how about some FUE for DV?
And now I'm lousy with wisps. Look at my wisp here on YouTube. It's kind of fun to see it.
Oh, wow. Today is the first day I can really see it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen it there, but now I can see like the hairline forming.
It does take a little while.
chia pet.
Look at that. Look at that plowhawk.
I love that.
It takes a period of months before you really see much.
When did you have it done? Was it June?
End of June.
Yeah.
So coming up on 4 months. They say 6 to 8 months before it really starts to grow in, and then a year before the full product grows in. So you have to be patient. It does take a little while. But it's pretty much guaranteed that you're going to have your own hair for the rest of your life now. You've been transplanted with follicles that aren't subjected to the male pattern baldness gene. So if it's something that's bothered you, it's a great way to go. These people know how to do it. Dr. Polenga is one of the best, and the founder of the company, Greg Kryling, they are both there to consult with you through the entire process. And I keep harping on this because a lot of people ask me, did it hurt? No, there's no pain involved at all. Some people get a little swelling. I had a little swelling on my forehead. Some people get no swelling at all. Really very, very few side effects. So if it's something you've ever considered, if your hair is bothering you, do something about it. We've got a great resource right here in St. Louis Hair Restoration.
There it is. If you are injured in an accident, things can spiral out of control quickly. You may have medical bills piling up. You might not be able to work or provide for your family, and you're probably getting the runaround from your insurance company you've been talking to about it. Well, don't fight this fight alone. CD Longo and Doug Biggs of the Longo Biggs Injury Law Firm will take all the complication and hassle out of your injury claim. They'll deal with the companies head on and take the fight head on, allowing you to get back to what's important, which is recovering from your injuries. CD and Doug are our TMA listeners. They are St. Louisans. They are trial lawyers, and that means they won't settle if there's an obstacle or complication in your case. In fact, most cases have them, and Doug and CD will overcome those obstacles and take your case all the way to trial if necessary. It's Longo Biggs Injury Law. They accept personal injury, wrongful death, brain injury, and other catastrophic injury cases. Go online at longobiggs.com. Remember, the choice of an attorney is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements, and you should think about that.
All right.
Let's switch over to the YouTube at 10 o'clock over to 101 ESPN. New Skeleton debuts, next week or in 2 weeks?
November 1st. I'm actually having a meeting with Marty and Tommy, I do believe sometime this week, to kind of hash out the template of said
I thought
skeleton.
Tommy canceled all the meetings with you.
Well, this is before the tank lid idea that could be a huge,
it could be a furlough causer?
I don't know. It could be a huge home run. So there's
that possibility.
There.
Maybe he called Hubbard Corporate Minneapolis and said, hey, I got something tonight.
You ought to all be doing this.
Hey, Stan, I found your right-hand man.
Yep.
Listen to
Darren
this idea.
T. Atkins. There it is. We got the Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day coming your way in a matter of moments. Jackson, anything that we haven't tended to?
Nope. Tended to it.
All right. Yep. There it is. Look at us, Doug. We're little busmen.
Okay, we really are.
Iggy, what were you doing during the Colonel segment?
Playing some golf rival.
Oh, yeah? How'd you do? Get that Batwing 8 yet?
I won't get that Batwing 8 till 2025.
You ever thought about maybe opening up the purse strings a little bit and putting a little $5?
Yeah, maybe I'll get it to you for Christmas.
No, I will not spend a penny on this game.
So if I got you a golf rival,
Yeah, what if we all pooled in and got you Batwing 8?
Yeah, I got you a $10 golf rival gift card. Would you accept it?
I don't think they have gift cards.
Can you even get to Batwing 8 with just solid play on Batwing 7?
That's a great question.
Yeah, that's a
Dottie.
nice question.
Well, Batwing 7 is good, but when I get to Albatross Arena, which you get 2 shots to either make an albatross on a par 5
I think it's
or
like Pebble.
the closest to the pin in your second shot. And I played a guy yesterday that had 9 albatrosses.
That bastard.
And
he
I
bought
looked.
Batwing 8, didn't
He's
he?
got a Batwing 8 and a Cardinal 7. A Cardinal 7 is something else. I'm in a Cardinal 6. Cardinal 7,
So we need a
you can hit
$20
trick
gift card.
shots off of rocks and things.
You need better clubs.
I do. I just need to up 1 on all my clubs.
Now, if they're a
but-
Batwing 9, or is that like
Oh,
extra?
careful now.
Is that like
No,
double
careful.
diamond member?
I think
like,
there is, but I haven't seen it. You need.
It's like
2
dealing with a nuclear bomb that's a little too much.
Well, you need cards to move up.
can't.
Like a Batwing, I have to get 200 cards to move to 8.
How many cards you got now?
I got to Batwing 7 in October of 2022. We're almost into 2024, and I have 71 cards.
71, Doug.
I need 129 cards.
I don't think you're going to get there.
In 2025.
No,
So I
not
have to
this
stay
gift
in this.
card.
I have to stay in the same stage I'm playing because I can't go up.
How often do you get a new card?
I haven't gotten one in almost 2 years.
Oh, not even one.
No, I need one. I get the cards, but I need 200 of them to move up a level.
Oh,
and I'm at 60. What did I say? 67, something like that.
71.
71, something like that. So I got a ways to go, but I just play now for gifts and coins and things like that.
Well, I know it's difficult times. It's a real challenge.
Well, a lot of Americans are facing challenging
Yeah.
times, Doug,
That's
and this is just another example,
With
another
inflation.
anecdote.
It's my daily routine. Now I got to get ready because my neighbor who lives next door to me, in apartment 4, I'm in
Hence the
apartment
name
3.
neighbor.
Is he moving out? You can clean out his closet?
No, he's moving out October 25th, and then I'm moving into his apartment when it's ready because, again, I have to move for the second time in 3 years because of the pipe in my apartment.
What's wrong with all these pipes?
I don't know, but they have to dig up the kitchen again, so I have to move.
Oh, Bill.
So I said, I'm just waiting until he moves, and I'm moving right next door. But I still need to get some helpers to move the couch and chest and bed and things like that. The other stuff I can just box up and walk 10 feet, but so I got to go through all of that again. I got to box
You ever
all
get
this
those little sliders you put on the feet of furniture now, and you can almost by yourself slide big drawers and things and big
No,
furniture?
I just rather get some friends to do it and then give them some crap beer.
Nice gesture.
What were the 4-year-old coffee stouts in like the middle of the summer?
No, really, you can
imagine opening up one
I
of
can
those.
feel the vomit.
Strawberry margarita
refreshing.
beer. Yeah,
You
it
can
was-
move some very heavy furniture with those pads that you put underneath them.
Oh, we did.
You really
we,
can.
We just put. We rearranged our bedroom because we wanted to clean it all, vacuum underneath. So we put washcloths just underneath our heavy. Because you don't
Yeah.
want to take the TV down and like.
Right.
We just left everything on there.
Oh,
It
gosh.
slid like a. Great.
Of course, you still got to give them over the threshold and everything. If you're leaving one apartment, there's going to be a bump there that you might have to pick it
Yeah.
up slightly.
That half a second pickup.
It
Yeah, I
ruins
It's like
everything.
your life is.
Yeah.
like,
I mean, the bed and the couch are going to have to go sideways to get into a door, so having it on rollers doesn't matter. Not
Well,
sure-
it
not
sounds
sure
like
beer cats are-
serious issues. How many people you need to come over?
Yeah, as many as want to come over. I'll actually buy beer this time.
But it's going to be crap beer?
No, I'll probably buy some Mick Ultra.
Nice.
Oh.
Sponsor the studios, Doug.
that was a sick little weed.
Yeah, that was nice. That was a very nice
And a
week.
bottle of probably Milagro tequila for you to do some
Wow,
shots for.
yeah.
Now you're just buttering up the butt
Yeah.
right now.
Iggy, why don't you text Lisa Ann to see if she will help you move? That's from Dave Hay.
Yeah, that's funny.
I think that
We're
would
gonna
go
see-
over well.
We're going to see a lot of the text, I feel like, in the next coming
Would
weeks.
go over
I am
very
sure
well.
that between the rotten beer and then the berating that you gave the last guys who helped you move, they will not be offering. That's from caller Drew.
There's no berating. I apologize for having beer that was 5 years old.
I don't know if it would be 8. To me, it's a coffee stout in like 100-degree weather. I could not imagine trying to guzzle one of those down.
It was chilly.
Iggy moving,
was it?
riveting
Okay.
content, boys. That's from Jimmy Buffett's Cute Feet. He is not happy with the
It's
show.
all a tease for Renters Roundtable.
Yeah,
Glad you enjoyed it. Yeah.
we're planting little sunflower seeds. Next thing you know, boom.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day. Ever since I was a young whippersnapper, Sticks, Bear, and Fuller's upper parking lot was our turf. So when my buddies and I went to see the last year of Santa Claus landing by helicopter, last thing I foresaw was trouble. But here came the Kirkwood Street Toughs, led by the hottest guy ever, to the point where he said, "Take a OIC, it will last longer."
What does that mean?
I don't know. I read what's in the prompt.
Oh, I see.
As I sheepishly apologized, he said, "I'm just joshing. It happens all the time. Jump in and we'll paint this Crestwood town red." Eventually, we went Parng. P-A-R-N-G.
P-A-R-N-G. P-A-R, orange? What the hell is that?
It's almost hard to
Orange.
understand what they mean.
Yeah, some of them you have trouble trying to put them all together.
Deciphering that one,
It's kind of like a
Sal.
license plate.
I live in
26H
I live in Sunset Hills, which
D49.
is right next to Crestwood. I don't know where you'd go in Crestwood to paint it red. There's not really a bar district there that I know of.
Hey, Rich and Charlie's.
Maybe, I guess.
There's a Pope still there.
I mean, Helen Fitzgerald's, I think, is Sunset Hills.
At Sunset Hills.
You could certainly
I'm
paint
pissed. I
that.
didn't know O'Connell's closed on Sundays recently. Now
Oh,
there's
they're right?
Saturday wing special. Yeah,
They
I'm
took such a
pissed.
beating
So they
here
have a Saturday
last
wing
week.
special?
They usually have a Sunday wing special, but yesterday they were apparently they're closed now, so it's Saturday wing special.
I've
Wings
gotten
at
wings there on
O'Connell's.
Saturday. Wow.
Wow.
They are, I agree. Kind of remind me of that brass ring I rave about down in Jupiter.
Those are good.
Eventually, we went Parng. It when I said ouchie. Doug, that's what the sentence is. Eventually, we went Parng it when I said ouchie.
I don't understand that.
The smoke from Flaming Pit is burning my eyes. Oh, you guys went to Flaming Pit.
Flaming Pit was right there at Sappington and Watson Road.
So that explains it.
Yeah.
He said, he said, put your head in my lap to be safe. I immediately noticed he had unzipped his khakis and covered his love with the melted orange Julius we had bought earlier. Every Sunday, I am reminded of the incredible cold mouth sex we had when the announcers mentioned the 1977 Denver Broncos Orange Crush defense, and I get a monster erection.
Oh.
That's from a guy with the first name of Wang, and then his last name is Kerr.
Wow.
Kevin Miller.
That is unique.
I think you can
As
say
his
the whole
premium.
name. It's-
Kevin Miller. I can smell it a mile off.
Old people are so cute. My elderly neighbor Chester, a retired surfboard inspector from Sedalia,
Surfboard inspector.
walks his dog around the neighborhood every evening. Normally, if I'm outside, he stops to chat on his way past my house. He's long-winded, and it's kind of annoying because, as you guys are aware, old people never know when to stop talking. This time, though, he didn't even make eye contact with me, which was odd. I soon discovered that Chester refused to look me in the eye because his canine had deposited a steaming pile of yesterday's kibble on my lawn, and old Chuck didn't bother to clean it up. There's actually no telling if the mountainous plop came from the dog or Chester himself, but it was a healthy heap nonetheless. I heard an audible squish and glanced down to see that my white shoes were covered in murky brown mud. I was seeing red, and I'm not talking about Chester's ruptured hemorrhoid that was visibly seeping through his white pant either.
I think that happened to Joe.
The most embarrassing part was my visible erection. I guess stepping in that pile reminded me of the steamy, scat-filled three-way that Brad Kurt and I had on our final hole at the Hit and Giggle.
Oh, don't say scat-filled.
I kept saying, Bradley, wait until we get back to the patio so I don't get grass stains on my three-quarter zip. But Brad's wandering digits would not be denied. The final birdie putt dropped, and so did Kurt's undies. That putting green quickly became our bed as our three rotund bodies intertwined. It turns out number 9 wasn't the last hole of the day after all. 4, please, JV golf coach, now bottoming.
JV golf coach, now bottoming.
The year was 2003. Hollywood's finest treated the Sunset Strip as their own personal playground. The poker boom launched No Limit Hold'em to meteoric heights. Money was cheap and thrills were expensive. And it's here that served as the backdrop to the most exclusive, underground, high-stakes all-nighter sessions the world had ever seen. The story of Molly's Game went on to become a summer blockbuster, a New York Times bestseller. But what the headline didn't tell you was that there was another high-stakes game taking place just 2,000 miles east of the Viper Club in a rundown barn smack dab in the heart of Middle America, although its story was never greenlit by a major studio. In a moment, the rest of the story. Hi, I'm Iggy, and I'm selling boner pills. I can't pronounce the active ingredient, and I usually lose track of the 30-second ad spot and ramble on for a few minutes about all the tasks I got to get done to get me my level 8 Batwing. Use code TURTLENECK for 20% off some internet fish from the fabulous Fish Co., which isn't on the books. Boner pills, because you like nice things. Isn't that Carol House?
It is.
While Molly's game played host to such players as Spider-Man, DiCaprio, Rick Solomon, the nation's greatest athletes, and the globe's wealthiest titans of business, just a short 28-hour drive across America's heartland sits a sleepy little farm town called Canton, Illinois. It's here where two brothers, often referred to as the Winklevi of Canton, hosted a similar high-stakes game where apparently, according to lore, thousands and thousands of dollars exchange hands each orbit. Nested cozily between Dad's riding lawnmower and Mom's potting soil bench sat the Dever brothers. Is it Dever or Dever?
Dever.
Two entrepreneurial spirits who targeted Canton's inexplicably wealthiest dumbs and gave them an arena to chase the thrill of short-handed poker. Sitting at the VIP table was the likes of Plowsy, a self-made Pizza Hut manager, shoving last week's paycheck and next semester's loan money into the center of the table in hopes of funding his addiction to Texas-sized cinnamon rolls, sour gummy worms, and a mouth-to-mouth Xbox Live subscription. A month-to-month, I'm sorry. In the two-seat sat Mace Dog. While it's unknown how Mace Dog amassed his high school fortune, we do know he was well connected to the night shift manager at Breakfast John's, where he could often be found spending his winnings in a private booth with unlimited stacks of pancakes and bottles of chocolate milk. The three-spot sat Matty Dreads. Matty Dreads was Canton's most popular pervert, who would go on to find success in the adult industry, where he'd become so wealthy, so sought after, that an unsponsored HG2 podcast broadcasting out of a kennel in a boiler room tucked away in the basement of Hubbard would eventually be the only media outlet to land his interview. That interview can be found in a hard-to-navigate app that is concurrently running two hard-hitting journalism polls ripped from today's headlines. The first asks the audience, have you ever been turned on by a customer service rep?
Oh.
The second poses the query, is getting the NIT tournament a big win for St. Louis?
One of Jay's crowning.
While Molly's game was eventually busted by the federal government, the Devers brothers game is still played to this very day, pending the success of the town's soybean harvest. And now you know the rest of the story. Thanks, that's from Harvey Paul.
Harvey?
Oh,
That's a long email.
I know, and I got Buck Swope. Jackson, can I do it or should I not?
I love Buck Swope. It's a good email, but we're going to be running really
No!
late.
It's already
He's going to come after me for this, but like we have
Nobody's gonna
another
beat that
show
guy
to
anyway.
do,
There is another show to do.
which is on the time sensitive.
Well, I enjoyed the callbacks to Flaming Pit and Six Baron Fuller. I don't know where to go in Crestwood to paint the town red still, but I'm going to vote for the Chinese fellow, Wang Kerr.
I'm going to go for Harry Paws.
Well, that's a different guy than Harvey Paul, but assuming I'm going Harvey Paul as well.
Damn it, Lucas.
Congratulations, you have won the Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email today.
Buck.
Jackson and Buck Swope. Guess we'll save it for tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, you could.
Hopefully it's evergreen.
Went on about Lisa Ann and recapped that, so you wouldn't have won anyway.
Time for us to shut it down. We got to go. Bye.
The Tim McKernan Show podcast featuring